validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. Man, we had a disaster happening before the show. I had to go through a lot of stuff. There's so many things that I had to catch up on right before the show. I ended up having to print a lot of stuff, had to type up a lot of documents. I had to push through a lot of things that I wasn't expecting to have to push through. I made a lot of progress in a short period of time, but, you know, it caused me to start the show about 45 minutes late. So I appreciate you guys that are still here. I appreciate those of you that are checking in on us. Better late than never. But like we told you, word is bond that we never let the sun rise without airing the show. So as we have the show airing, supposed to be 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock California time, which is supposed to be 4 a.m. roundabout roughly for those individuals that are in Green Minute time, and about 4 a.m. for those of you that are on Universal Standard Time. Beyond that, you also have the ability to like and subscribe, because whenever we get started, if you guys have subscribed to the channel, you will get notifications that the show has gone live. So then you can jump on from a special shout out to Twitch and or Twitter, because Twitch and Twitter, we are live on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. We have not yet gone live on TikTok. We're going to be following up on TikTok coming soon, because we got a few weeks left. I want to say now is a good time to say 30 days from now, we'll know whether or not TikTok is bought out or if China was so pissed off at the tariffs that they said screw the TikTok deal and allow TikTok to go offline. Either way, we're going to be working with special shout out to Victoria B, as you see that she had made a very impeccable statement yesterday on the show. So I told her, word is bond, that her comment would be scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So it is here. Special shout out to Satellite. He is in for the 21st, 22nd, 23rd time, showing up like Goldberg. It's multiplying, but he's here. Special shout out to him. Today we're supposed to be doing a Sundays members only show that's open to the public, where everybody gets to do their questions and comments. As y'all seen, that we pretty much cover just about any question or comment that comes onto the show, as long as it's reasonably appropriate. Today we're going to be listening to some fantastic nuances. Not only idiocracy, we're also going to be dealing with a lot of reasonable scenarios where we're going to be making it make sense. Special shout out to Usman. You know, Usman's about to pop in here real soon. He's got to get his saying for the day. You guys definitely make the show what it is. I really appreciate it. Always value you guys. Special shout out to Red Void, Danny Steffen, Reese Martinez, Max the Poser, Lucas the Poser, Reese, his father, and Mr. Pibbs, and Vivian, and Nico. Yeah, trying to remember everybody. Joseph, I can't remember everybody. I put a lot of y'all on the show earlier. We were scrolling through. See, we had some internet issues. We starting to scroll through. Make sure that I give y'all a special shout out, because I really appreciate the fans. Special shout out to all the countries around the world that are watching us as well as talking to us. I really appreciate you guys for showing us all that support. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about how the situation went left since last week in governmental politics in the United States, with Donald Trump and his position standing firm on the tariffs that he has imposed on everybody, and how that's going to mess with our money. Then Tuesday, we're going to be talking about precious metals. So those of you that were asking about Z, and a few other people were asking about precious metals, we're going to be talking about that on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I haven't put it up there yet, but we're going to be talking about New Zealand. So we get to cover that topic as well. So that's what it looks like over the next 72 hours. Make sure that if you haven't taken a look at the channel, that you take a look at it, hit that notification button, because it'll let you know twice. It'll let you know that it's supposed to air today, and it'll let you know that it actually did air, even if it airs late, because, you know, we operate on CP time from time to time. Now, since we are going to be talking about everything that could be anything, today we're going to try to see, let's see if StreamYard has respectfully worked out the sound issue that we had and get through these audio files. Here's praying. And no, we're in a situation where you guys can't hear the audio. So we're going to do it again. I'm that guy that's going to go ahead and make sure that we got the so now I've got to play it for you. I got to hear it and listen to it at the same time. This is going to be feedback in the background. It's going to be chaos. We're going to make it work, though. You know, we always try to make it work.
Do men sometimes initiate text just to be friendly? Nothing more? Matched with someone who lives far away in another state a couple months ago.
You guys should
We
be able to hear
talked
it
and
this
got
time.
to know each other, but stopped talking after a couple weeks. Texted me again this week out of nowhere, asking how I am doing and where I am moving for my new job.
It's going to be a little bit of lag. So
Am I being difficult for
patience.
being turned off and not enthused about meeting him again? He paid for
Okay, so in that one, it was supposed to be it didn't stop when it was supposed to stop, but I stopped it. So she's asking, does men actually look at that. See, I have to test the show to make sure that the show's working. It actually, men do in fact text you out of the fact of just being nice. Men do also have ulterior motives behind their communications with you. So most men are not just going to text you for the sake of being a good guy. The ulterior motive is they're looking for a long-term companion with you. Most men are not interested in simply friends. They will accept simply friends as a consolation to the lifelong partnership with a romantic partner, because if the person that they want does not want them, anything is better than nothing. So they will accept a friend zone position over the romantic partner position, which is not beneficial for the man, because in most scenarios we have the male best friend behaving as a husband in situations where the male best friend is supposed to be just behaving as a friend. So we find that to be very complicated for being men, because I mean, women don't experience this that often. It does happen. Women are in fact put in friend zones where men are not attracted to that woman, but she is looking for a romantic relationship. A lot of times that type of behavior occurs where she's the other woman, he's married, he might be interested in her for physical connection, but he's not interested in her with a long-term relationship, and she wants a long-term relationship. She's doing everything that a girlfriend or wife is supposed to do, but at the same time, he's not interested in a relationship with her, and she kind of feels strung along. Now, this happens a few times with women when they're picking the wrong guy, when the good guy is in the friend zone and the bad guy is the guy of choice. And then after a while, their behavior sours, as we talked about on the show yesterday. And then they are untrusting and all of the other baggage that comes from jumping out of all of those bad relationships and then looking for the good guy and trying to settle down. So when a man texts you, a lot of the times, the man does have an interest in you. Now, he's still got to get to know you to find out exactly how much interest does he have in you. But does his ability to reach out and say what's up have to explicitly be for the sake of trying to get laid? No, of course not. Some guys are just thinking about you and they just say what's up because for some reason that they don't understand that you are on their mind. So they have to communicate with you because you're thinking about you. That does not mean that they're lusting for you at that time. That does not mean that they are in some way, shape, or form bending over backwards trying to get with you or something like that. It's just the simple fact that look, we had to adjust the frame rate because the show keeps dropping frames. So give us just a second here as we tiptoe away from, there it is, starting to do a lower frame rate. It looks like it's gonna give us a little still lagging. Let me see if it switched it, because I switched it from, yep, it's at 720 now. Apparently, there it is. All right, good. Let it catch up. Boy, no matter what we do, guys, we're always in a situation where the internet's not in our favor. I can't wait till fiber optics is across the world. That way we can start using ground lines like we used to do back in the 90s and get better connection. But yeah, a man can contact you and potentially hit it off with you, as opposed to only connecting with you just for the sake of sex. Now let's move on to the next one, because we do have some. We don't have as many as we usually do, but we do have their long-winded ones on here. So we get to deal with the nice long. I like the ones that are long because they are passionate about what they're talking about, and then the rest of us just gotta get the gist of it and then try to bounce back off of it. So let's see what the next one's got for us.
I am moving for my new job.
Am I being difficult for being turned off and not enthused about meeting him again? He paid for my $3 coffee I offered, and he said I can get the next one. Next date. He asked me to go to a nice restaurant. First date. He paid for my $3 coffee. He's 38, I'm 28. Am I being nitpicky here? It made me uncomfortable that he said, "You can get the next one,"
Yeah,
since it
you
was
being
literally
fucking
only
difficult.
$3.
Special shout out to Carl. Carl is in the house at the right time. Okay, Carl. Carl says there would be less divorce if the women would pick the good man in the friend zone. Special shout out to Carl, because Carl brought sense to the podcast before I could make it make sense. Look, ladies, just like Carl's talking about right now, Carl, longstanding, he's been here for a while now. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. We got some drama today. There's about 12 minutes of audio files across, I think, 7 or 8 of them. We got some drama today. They got some people, I done pulled them out the comments. They talking reckless today. But yes, just like what Carl said, the ladies have to recognize that they want the adventure, they want the excitement, they want the volatility, they want the roller coaster relationship, they want that trying to turn a bad guy good scenario. And look, ladies, guys have the same behavior. The guys like the fast girls. Some of the guys like they would take a good girl. A good guy would take a good girl, but a young man would take a fast girl before a young man takes a stable girl. And the young man that's taking the fast girl is looking for the easy chick. He's looking for the quick engagements, the physical contact. He doesn't really care about. He's not after the volatility. He's not after the toxicity like the women are. But because the young men are looking to get laid as fast as possible with the least amount of effort, they'll fall into a toxic relationship so that they can have a frequent sex partner. Women who are looking for the excitement in their life will fall into a toxic relationship so that they can get the thrills in their life. But those thrills comes with trauma. Same thing with the men. The sexual engagements comes with trauma. So it's not good for either side to be looking for the wrong thing. If the guy was looking for a girl that was willing to save herself for marriage, and Lord knows we can't find, there's probably less than 1% of women in America that's willing to do that, that's capable of doing that, because most of them, like you seen the girl that got ran through by 25 high school students in the high school bathroom an hour after high school was over. This happened in Florida a few months ago. They got a body count of 25 at 15. That's like double your age. Like, at 2 partners per year, when you're supposed to start doing this at a grown age, you're supposed to be experiencing this particular type of catastrophic failure where you're at 10 at 30? Usually the body count of 10 at 30, and that's still saying too much. So if you've got the body count of 25 at 15, by the time you're 20, you'll have 100. That's not okay. Not because it's not fair that women can't get laid like men get laid. It's because the trauma that comes behind the way you're being treated when you act like that is not going to benefit your mental state. And then your mental instability is going to catastrophically impact your relationship. And then the catastrophic relationship is going to catastrophically impact the man. And if you guys break up, that man is now damaged because you were damaged and you damaged him. And now he's going to do what? Damage the next woman that he gets with. And it's going to be a domino effect. That's what people don't understand. It's not just, oh, you can't sleep around like men sleep around. No, we want a woman that has not been emotionally destroyed. Like the girl. Yeah, Carl. Yeah, she's 15-year-old. It was all over the news. The girl voluntarily. This was not an attack. This was not an ambush. She voluntarily allowed 25 of her schoolmates to tap that after school. And the way it came out on the news, the school found out about it because 25 different boys were entering and exiting the bathroom at too frequent of a pace that became suspicious to the school. They went in the bathroom and caught the kids knocking it back shots and all. They caught kids with video cameras where they were recording some of it and all of this other stuff. It's probably going to show up on one of the hubs soon. But the fact is that That was a voluntary behavior. Now, think about this. Now that she's done that, social media dictates her reputation is ruined now at 15. In 1980, 1990, before the internet, you could have moved to a different neighborhood, changed schools, nobody would have known. The news report went viral. So guess what just happened with your reputation? It went viral too. So now everybody around the world knows that at 15, you're a hoe, which means that no matter what school you go to, you will be teased and bullied. You will be mistreated. You will be devalued and degraded by men until you get out of high school. Your best bet would be to get homeschooled for the rest of your childhood. Then, God forbid, they still remember you when you go to college. Anybody who hears your name, oh, that's the girl that ran a train in the bathroom at the high school in such and such city. At the end of the day, your reputation is destroyed. Now, how does that impact you? Well, career-wise, it could negatively impact you, but not necessarily. But relationship-wise, men are going to be making unnecessary advances at you because they're going to think that you're easy. This is going to damage you. This is going to scar you. This is going to make you feel like you're not worthy and not valuable and lead you to long quantities of depression. This is going to make it hard for you to be recognized as a valuable woman to a man that knows about this history, which then is going to make you reluctant to behave positively towards men, which is going to make it harder for you to have a positive relationship towards men. So one bad decision with a high behind body count would lead you to a future of negative consequences that you wasn't planning on when you was knocking it back. It's terrible, Carl. It's terrible. And I'm not going to say it's funny, but it was interesting that the news report came out the same week that the women were shaving their heads and protesting the abortion law. I did the show about it specifically because you got to think, if this child ended up pregnant because of her decision making, which was poor choice, her parents would want her to get an abortion. Because the abortion law was passed before they found out she was pregnant, she is now 15, unable to get an abortion, which means she's probably going to have to carry that child to term. The argument that the women had, the feminist activists had, when they were saying, oh, their right to autonomy and their right to choice, got shot to shit because this girl did what she did. Because think about it now, you're taking away the father's rights for men who voluntarily wanted to be a dad and was in a solid relationship with the woman that he wanted to be the mother of his kid, and she wants to terminate the pregnancy. Now you're taking that between poor choices with women that are deliberately throwing it back and getting pregnant because they're throwing it back. And now that destroys their ability to say, well, what about that one time when we get attacked? Well, that's the exception. What about the one time when there's nobody else there to take care of the kid? Probably yet another exception. But all the rest of the time, no, you can't do it unless you can show that there's a serious health issue with carrying a child to term. Besides the fact that you can't afford it, no, you're not going to be able to do it. So that's the full totality of it. It's terrible, though. It's crazy. But the women are unrealistic because, like this girl, her complaint, the guy says, I'll get the coffee. So they're out having a coffee date. It's a $3 coffee, $3 for him, $3 for her. He's going to buy their coffee. Then because she offers to buy it, he says, no, I got it. You get the next one. She's offended. She's grossed out at the thought of paying for her own coffee because if they got a refill, she would be inclined to pay for the refill. There are a lot of women in this situation that, and it's not all of the women, but there are a lot of women in this situation where they have this belief that they are not required to contribute to the dating process, that their presence is the only contribution they're supposed to bring to the dating process, that it is the man's responsibility to carry the weight of the entire dating process on his shoulders. It is not just paying for the bill. The man has to engage. The man has to set up the date. The man has to pay for the date. The man has to reschedule the next day. Special shout out to Rev. First time tonight. He's back again. Good to see you, brother. Peace to you, my brother. Peace, peace, peace. We getting into some deep stuff today. The ladies are saying that not only do they not have to set up the first contact, they don't have to set up first date. They don't have to set up the follow-up dates. They don't have to set up the dating routine that leads to the relationship. They're also claiming that they don't have to participate in the girlfriend phase where they're required to show their wifely attributes to lead to the qualifications of engagement, where women are demanding after a certain period of time where she's invested her time into the relationship with little to no effort, where they're then demanding that they should get married, where the most that she's contributed to the man is sexual encounters. And then if they do marry the guy, they do less because now they're the wife. And because they're the wife, they're in control. And now they're dominating the man for the sex. So the man gets a consistent sex partner that he's renting for the rest of his life. If the relationship goes south, she takes half of his estate. But if the relationship doesn't go south, she inherits the entire estate. But all she's doing is showing up and putting out sex. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck? How, dude, bro, guys, this is insane. This is ridiculous and it's insane. But there's a lot of mentality out there that is expecting that. The exact same feminist movement that says that women should be treated equal to men is the exact same feminist movement that says women shouldn't have to initiate first contact. That's the man's job. Women shouldn't have to pay for the first date. That's the man's job. Women should not have to pay for the dating phase. That's the man's job. At best, women believe that they should go Dutch and pay for themselves, but they should not have to pay for the whole thing. They should not have to finance the startup of the relationship. You have to finance the startup of a business. You have to finance the startup of a stock option. You have to finance the startup of your emergency funds, your savings, your college tuition. You have to finance the down payment for your car note. Everything that you want of value in your life, you have to put effort and investment into it to acquire it. And then you have to continue contributing to it the entire time you have it. Why, when it comes to a relationship with a man, does that requirement does not exist for a woman and she's supposed to be equal? I don't understand it. And that's why I was sitting there looking. I was like, ladies, make sure y'all like and subscribe as y'all come through here. I was like, ladies, that's not the case. That's not the way things are supposed to be. We're supposed to be in a situation, if you're equal to me, you should be able to show up, tell me that you're attracted to me in some way, shape, or form. Ask me to go somewhere with you. We can go somewhere. We can meet there. If you don't want to ride with me or have me ride with you, we can meet somewhere. You can pay one time. I can pay the next time. Or I can pay one time. You can pay the next time. You can match me. If I paid $100 on the first date, you can pay $105 on the second. You know what I'm saying? We could do a situation where we were getting coffees. I bought 4 coffees. You left a $5 tip. If it's $3 a coffee, 4 coffees is $12. You put up the $5 tip. Hey, that's something. You know, try to show some type of contribution to this engagement. But that's not what we're experiencing a lot of the times. We're not experiencing the reciprocation. So the women make it harder for the women to engage in dating, because the men are required, and then the men are starting to put up demands. The men are saying, well, fuck, if I've got to pay all this stuff, you've got to put out on such and such date. Not a smart move, fellas, but they make sense. I've got to get something out of this deal, because that's the mentality that the women have when they're showing up on the date is, I've got to get something out of this deal. It's the least you can do to pay for my entire evening because I showed up. Now a man's going to reciprocate with that mentality and say, it's the least that you can do to put out because I paid so much money for your entertainment and your time. Now, both people got it wrong, because we're supposed to be focusing on what we're going to get long term out of a relationship with this person, and is this person worth our time and our money and our effort. But even if we don't have that recognition, at least we have the understanding that, I'm coming here to interview a potential suitor, as opposed to she's coming here to get a free meal, she's coming here to get a free event, and he's coming here to get laid. If they change that mentality, the outcome would be a lot different. Carl says they want to be put up on a pedestal. The only one we make up high is God. Well, Carl, strategically, what deserves to be put on the pedestal besides the God Almighty? What deserves to be put on a pedestal? Would it be fair to say something of value, right? To some kind of way, right? It's got to be worth something to be idolized and or worshiped, right? So if it's got to be worth something, the question is, when do you identify the value of what you're idolizing? Before you invest in it or after? I know there's some lag in the comment section, so I'm going to give you some time to answer this, because I know you and I are on the same page with this one. When you determine the value of something, is it before you invest in it or after? And Rev, you can chime in as well, because in my understanding is that regardless of what it is, regardless of who it is, typically the average individual determines the value of something before, see that? Before they invest in it. Is that car worth the price? Are those Jordans worth the price? Is that movie worth the price? Is that vacation worth the price? Is that house worth the price? Is that job worth the effort? Does the pay match the requirements? Is the education worth the tuition? What if I join the military? What benefits am I getting if I enlist? I can't think of a scenario in our life that we do not evaluate if it's worth it before we start investing in it. So why do women believe that their value comes before the analyzation of worth? Because no man values themselves to a magnitude to say that you must pay for my presence. You must invest in my presence before I show you that I am valuable as a man. Most men put their wallet first and say, look at my value. I make a lot of money. Look at my value. I have a lot of stuff. Look at my value. I'm strong. Look at my value. I have a huge network. Look at my value. I have a large following. I'm very popular. I have a high social status. Look at my value. Date me. Women say, I put out. Date me. I put out. Pay me. I put out. Marry me. But where's the value in that? So this lady grossed out because the guy paid $3 a cup for two people to go have a cup of coffee, where he could have let her pay. She's grossed out because he paid for the first date. She was supposed to catch the second drink. And on the second date, he took her to a fancy restaurant. So you went from coffee, $6 roughly if they only got one drink, $12 if they got two drinks a person, to $150, $200 dinner the next night on him. She didn't pay for the second date. He paid for the second date. So likely he paid for 100% of these two dates, but she is grossed out by the thought that she might have had to pay for a refill when she didn't pay for the first cup in the first place. Fellas, this is why dating game sucks. The mentality of some people is so distraught that the era of success is long since gone. There are good women in every country, including America. There are phenomenal women, hardworking women that would make a good wife to a strong man that will put in his effort into his woman. But those women are so hard to find because you can't tell the difference between a good woman and a bad woman until the good woman shows her value. Because they all look the same. They come up with the same outfit, no modesty. They come up with the same piss poor attitude upon engagement, lying about having a boyfriend when they're not interested, and being all up in your face when they think you got money. But they don't distinguish themselves differently. You can't say, oh, well, I could tell that she's a higher value woman because look at how she carries herself. You can't tell if she's a gold digger or if she's a loyal, dedicated woman until she changes your tire, until she changes your oil, until she gets your car towed, until she pays for the repairs on your car, until she starts offering to pay your phone bill, until she starts trying to help you balance the budget and boost up stuff in your business, until she starts taking care of stuff around your house, until she starts putting her house up for sale so that she can use her house as collateral to buy you a bigger house. That's when you start seeing her value. But until then, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Carl says nowadays the engagement ring has to be big rock to show how much you love them. And I think that's just wrong. It's the love you show by action through your heart. Now, Carl, the old saying was, you are supposed to provide her with a ring that 30% of your income. And this is like a 70s, 80s kind of tradition. 30% of your income. So if you're a $30,000 man, that's a $10,000 ring. Now, I don't agree with that tradition because that women came up with that tradition. That's not a man's tradition because the patriarchy was that the a dowry from the man to the woman or from the woman to the man would occur, and that would be it. So if we were coming from the dowry scenario where the man bought the woman from the woman's family and that was a $10,000 engagement ring, you know, that would be the it makes sense. But I'm getting a lifetime of cooperation from that. However, when things changed in 1950 and they stopped doing arranged marriages, the man paying 1/3 to the engagement, that dowry no longer exists. So I don't need to get you a $10,000 ring from Zales or Tiffany's or K Jewelers. If I get you a $200 ring from Walmart, that's it. That's really paying too much. Carl says, right, I wish I could find one. The fact is, after 1950, usually the father of the bride would pay for the wedding. So if the fiance paid for the engagement ring, the father of the bride paid for the wedding, the father of the groom paid for the honeymoon. If the husband paid for a $10,000 ring, the whole thing was $10,000 for the husband. Now he getting it Carl said, you pay now, you pay later on far, you divorce later on for you pay now and you pay later on for the divorce. Look, I tell y'all right now, don't pay for an engagement ring. In stock option and put that stock option into a trust. Don't pay for the wedding. Take the money from the wedding, put that into a stock option and put that up in a trust as well. And then you take like $50, $75 for cause of court, go down to the justice of the peace with two people that you know, sign off on the wedding papers, and you're done. The money that is in that trust by the time that y'all get the divorce, that's her fucking alimony. Because if you put $150,000 into that trust, which would have been a wasted day for a wedding, and that 15% would have been like $15,000 to $20,000 a year of added money to that trust. Where if y'all stayed married for 5 or 10 years, which is usually what happens when you're in a semi-decent relationship, that relationship would turn out to give you a good $200,000, $300,000 settlement that, you know, if we part, you get that trust. That's your trust, not our trust. That's your trust. You do a trust for your fiance where you put the cost of the ring and the cost of the wedding into a trust where she keeps that if we divorce, but she gets nothing else. That's all she gets is this. It's hers for the rest of her life. So if she doesn't fuck it up, she's going to get an extra $15,000 a year every year for the rest of her life. Now, if you have the trust to not start distributing wealth to the bride until the divorce, once the divorce happens, if you're reinvesting the money into the trust annually until you divorce, that $150,000 or $110,000 that you put in there might be $300,000 to $500,000 by the time it comes out, which means that when y'all do get divorced, now she's getting like $40,000, $50,000 a year. You ain't got to pay no alimony. She's already got a trust. There's your alimony right there. I ain't got to pay for child support. You already got the trust. I ain't got to pay for nothing else. You already got it. So it's a waste of time and a waste of money on the wedding. But considering the fact that the objective that I have about that is what are the women doing to earn all that? What are you doing to earn a monthly salary from the man? Now I'm going to call it that. The dating phase is a monthly salary for the man where he's subsidizing your entertainment. 2, 3, 4 dates a month at minimum, plus hangout time, him picking you up, dropping you off, all this stuff. What are you doing to deserve that? We asked a woman on the show yesterday what she brings to the table, and Vicky B, she was here yesterday and she had a fantastic response for this that very few women put up there. Vicky said that women, God created a woman for the man and the man for a woman, Vicky said that it is the woman's position to nurture the man in all aspects, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Now, that was the first thing that Vicky said. First time a woman came out there that deep, because most of the women, Carl was here when the women were up here just tearing the men up with no validation. We were incels, we were male chauvinist pigs, we were red pill podcast, all the stuff that they were talking about, but not one of the 4 women on the channel that night could say over the course of 2.5 hours what they brought to the table. Now, Vicky moved on to say that a woman must also possess some kind of wisdom and enlightening to help refine him as a man and to instill their kin to be successors. And I was like, you know what? That is a keeper conversation right there. I was like, whew. I don't think I'm ever going to get a response like that again, ever. But some women said emotional support. Some women said spiritual support. Some women said, helping her partner. But that right there, if that woman taught the next generation of women how to be women, we'd have better quality women. That's what I'm saying. But it was wild that it's rare that something like that happened. He said, Ray Chop, there's your woman. Yeah, Rev. Yeah, Rev. There's the woman right there. It's Vivian B or Victoria B. And you can find her on YouTube. If you at Victoria B, you'll find her. She's in our channel. She subscribed to the channel yesterday, matter of fact. Day before yesterday it was 2 days ago. You find her in the comment section because we replay the comment section when you replay the video. Because we were talking about yesterday about the sabotaging behavior, and then we were talking about the day before that the mistakes that we're making in our relationships based off of the baggage and stuff that we had. So we had two really deep shows over the past couple of days, and she came in because she was scrolling through YouTube like most people do, caught us on a For You page, and we were talking about quantum physics when she popped up, and she was like, okay, grown ass men in here talking about quantum physics, and she just decided to hang out for a little bit. And then we went from talking about quantum physics to fixing your relationship, and from fixing your relationship to business and finance, back to fixing your personal decision-making choices with fixing your relationship. And she was like, I'm gonna have to start coming back here. And I said, we're a Diamond in the Rough podcast, because not too many people know that we exist. We only got about 23,100 of y'all up in here, and that ain't a lot, because when the Whatever podcast and Fresh and Fit jump on with the 6 million followers that don't like women's behavior and just show up to the show to watch the men make the women look like idiots, we don't have as many people following us because YouTube redirects all of the traffic to the top 3 successful channels. Us small podcasters, it takes us a while to build up the views. That's one of the reasons why I tell you guys to like, subscribe, mash them heart stars and marshmallows all over the screen there, because the algorithm gets triggered the more that the channel is reacted to. And the more people that sit here and hang out for the full totality of the channel, the more individuals that end up seeing the channel, which expands the channel to an area where we end up all over the place, like the WWE. You'd be like, holy snap, I seen him yesterday on Twitch. I seen him yesterday on Twitter. He popped up right after an Elon Musk commercial. Eventually, you'll see us on TikTok if Donald Trump and Elon Musk finish buying it out. Reb said, right, where's she at now, Carl? Well, hopefully she comes to the show today, because I told her about Sundays and she was supposed to pop in. And if she pop in, I'm going to let you come talk to you, but we'll see if she's gonna be that kind of female that's gonna entertain a positive connection, or if she's gonna be the kind of female that says, I got a man, I was just here. I was just here for the conversation. Because you got some that's fear of success, and that fear of success is going to stem from self-sabotaging behavior. So before she can find out if you're a good guy, she might sabotage her success by making it seem like she's already committed to somebody. And that's typically the behavior that some women have. It's not intentional, it's subconscious. Before they put themselves in a situation where they accidentally do something to get themselves rejected, they'll reject you to keep themselves from being rejected by you. We talked about that on the show yesterday. But yeah, it was a wild and crazy scenario. So this lady here is off the chain. Let's touch base with another one, because I know we got some. Let me make sure that we all on the same time slot here, because we got the back end video from the front end video, because these people said that they were gonna fix it and they didn't fix it. No, it was supposed to be 50.
It was literally only $3 and not an expensive meal.
I think it's time to quit, as stated. I am 30 years old, think I am ready to give up dating for good. Do I want to do this? No. I am fucking terrified to die alone. But 6 years. 6 fucking years straight. I get catfished, I get stood up, I get ghosted like 97% of the time. Hell, half the women I talk to are scammers. As for offline, I've tried approaching. I get the look that says, what makes you think I want to talk to you? Meetup? Nobody there who isn't either 40 years older than me or who doesn't just ignore me. Bars? Tried it. Got told how I am too robotic and that everything I say screams autism. Friends setting me up? None of them know a singular soul who is single. None. I do not follow God, nor do I wish to. So church is out. Everyone I work with is a dude. I am so tired of trying and failing. I made a post like this a few months ago. I put my full effort out and I still failed. I don't want to do this anymore. So, despite my extreme desire not to, I quit. I'm done. I am officially off the market.
Damn. Yeah.
If you want to try and talk me out of it, I really hope you can
I was trying to
succeed.
stop the video.
This is the last thing I want to do, but I strongly...
All right, so he strongly doesn't think that the person that he's looking for exists. Wait, hold on. That says 227. Did y'all finish listening to it? No, y'all didn't.
Strongly believe that the person for me does not exist.
The delay. Oh, my God.
How do I get over a connection like this? I don't think I've felt like this before. I met this guy almost 4 months ago. How do I get over a connection?
All right, so we kind of got it. So, dude's upset. He can't match with a chick. He's having a hard time getting even the older ladies. Odds are, bruh man's not making 100K. So that's going to be a sucky situation. I got advice, but you're not going to like it. Fact is, bro, there is somebody out there for everybody. You're looking in the wrong spot. The normal places that you would go. Church is not the place you go to find a good woman. I'm going to tell you that right now. Hand to God, Rev. Don't go to church trying to find, he only 30, but he got to wait 20 years. That's why I said he's not going to like the advice. He's 30. He's got to set his 20-year plan, focus on making himself financially successful, increase his standard of living, increase his income before he increases his standard of living so that his income is 3 or 4 times his standard of living. So if he's living a $60,000 a year lifestyle, he needs to be making $180,000 a year. And once he gets to that level, he'll find the kind of woman he's looking for. He's going to be 50 years old. Half of his age plus 7 is going to be 32. So he'll be dating a 32-year-old at 50. But at 30, he is not valuable to women because he is not financially stable enough for her expectations. And if she is not looking for somebody to play around with, where she's just sleeping with him because he's attractive, she's not interested in a long-term relationship with him because he doesn't make enough money to give her the lifestyle that she wants. Not that he couldn't afford to take care of her. So a lot of men, I got a buddy of mine that feels the same way, that quitting the dating game is the most effective thing that he can do. Special shout out to Ruderus. He's back again. Ruderus is about to take my king on chess. But a buddy of mine, I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. We're over here talking about these people that are making bad choices in relationships. It's good to see you again. I'm paying attention to it now. I got the rounds going. And right after the show, I'm gonna be making another move. Like every 12 hours, I'm like, let me see what he did. But even my buddy said that he's tired of dating games. So he's 31 right now. He's gonna be 32 this year, but he retired out of the game last year because of the exact same thing. The women that he talks to will talk to him because he's willing to spend money on her. He's actually had a lot of encounters with adult freelance women, escorts and call girls, and he drives some of them around as a Uber driver or a Lyft driver, and favors for rides. But the fact is that he couldn't find any meaningful connections with them. The women that are potentially wife style behavior, I can't say wife material, wife style behavior, put him in the friend zone. He's looking after one of the girls' kid like a free babysitter, like a stepdad scenario, but that's not his kid and he's not in a relationship with her. But the crazy thing is that when I tell him he should commit to her, since he's behaving like the child's stepdad, commit to her and have her commit to him, or walk away from that scenario and open yourself up to a new relationship where you're not tied down to other women, because a new woman walking into your life is not going to feel comfortable with you cashing out on all of these other female friends, especially when some of these female friends you have had engagements with. in exchange for lack of gas money. So it's not going to benefit you to cling to a Rolodex of friends with benefits when you're trying to find a woman to commit to. And he retired out of the game and he stayed single. And I'm like, wow, well, they'll learn, but you find that you're not gonna be considered valuable till you're in your mid to late 40s, early 50s, after you've realized in your 30s that you need to get your shit together. And then the 20 years it takes for you to get it together, if you make no mistakes, you're gonna be middle-aged before you become valuable, and then you'll pick up a 25-year-old. It is what it is. Carl says when people get hurt, they go in defense mode. Yes, sir. That is called depression and low self-esteem. They're damaged goods, but to heal, you have to forgive and trust in God, and don't be afraid to meet someone new, which is exactly what I said yesterday. I wish you guys were here yesterday. And make sure you don't go into defense mode. Well, you've got to make sure that even if you go into defense mode, that you go into recovery mode as well. You can't just go into defense mode and just stay there. You can't be like Jonah in the belly of the whale. As soon as you realize that the situation went south for you, you can't just have a pity party. You fall off the horse. You can't just lay there and get trampled. You got to get up. You got to get back up. Even if you can't get back on the horse right now, you got to get back up, put the horse in a stable and hang out for a while. You got to exercise and get yourself back ready. You got to get your mentality right, because eventually you got to get back on that horse. You can't just say, nope, I'm done. You can't just Raymond Reddington your life and get trampled by a bull and just stay there, because your life is not over. Your life is going to continue. And the kind of lifestyle that you have is going to be based off of how much effort you put into your success. So if you don't start putting success into your life as you're failing, you're going to continue to fail. You don't get difference until you start doing something different. Rudera says, LOL, yeah, guys, listen to him. His advice made one of my wanted come true. Look, y'all, I forgot. Me and Ruderus was here a few weeks ago. He was telling me something about a woman that he wanted to get with, and throughout the hour, it was a Sunday night, just like tonight. And throughout the advice that we were discussing, I told him what I thought he should do about that, because based off of her behavior, based off of his desires, that she would be a good match for him if he just put in a little bit of effort and give her a little bit of the attention that she needs within reason and appropriately, so that he could accomplish his goals. He was able to work out not only getting the approval from his family, but also getting the approval from his girl. So his family appreciates the girl. He's got the girl's appreciation for him. He's got the woman that he's been looking forward to having this whole time. And instead of missing out on a good thing, he's able to take advantage of it. All he has to do is take it slow, maintain respect, maintain a reasonable quantity of transparency, and keep an open line of communication with her to make sure that everybody's needs are being met throughout their relationship. The fact is, it's not that hard. I've had quite a few people come up to the podcast and tell me, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about, because I'm not sitting here with a woman sitting next to me talking about yep, I'm here because he's a genius. No. I can be divorced and I can tell you guys what's up. I could be divorced twice and I can tell you guys what's up. I could be single, never married, and tell you guys what's up, because all men who have experienced this type of stuff know exactly what I'm talking about. You learn from failure more than you learn from success, which is why when you experience failure, you can't let depression take over. You're supposed to learn from that failure, and then you're supposed to improve. If you recognize that failure occurred, you analyze the failure. What went wrong? Why did it go wrong? How did it go wrong? So that you can determine how you're going to be able to make it right, make it better, make it more improved. Because if you don't, the fact is that you ultimately failed the day that you quit trying. That's when you truly failed, because the other failures weren't necessarily failures. They were just minor setbacks. Carl said, if you don't show your true self to someone you love, you're holding back and not showing the person you are and who you are, and you will eventually lose that person. That's exactly what we said yesterday too. Man, I wish you was here yesterday and the day before, Carl. Woo! Woo! This is words of wisdom. You would have had like 7 people here. You'd have had Miss Victoria up in here challenging. She would have been trying to compete with you on words with wisdom between you, her, and Usman. Bro, I tell you. But that's exactly the case. The fact is that we said that exact same thing on the show yesterday, is that you have to put your best foot for what I personally say, put your worst foot forward. That's what I say do. And some people are going to disagree with that. But I say put your worst foot forward specifically because if this is the worst that it's going to get, it's uphill from here. It don't get no worse than this. Right? And I try to make my worst foot my best self. That way, the best that I can do is improve. The worst that I can do is stay the same. I'm not going to pretend like I'm something that I'm not, where I'm trying to give you that Aladdin feeling where you're like, oh my God, he's the prince of all of everything. And then come to find out that I'm living from paycheck to paycheck, food stamps, government funded, borrowing money, loans, debt, living in my mama house, about to get evicted because she ain't paying the rent neither. That's not the best foot forward idea that you want to have. You're not trying to be like Cash Money Millionaires where your car about to be repossessed, you about to get evicted, but you throwing $100,000 a night in the club talking about some you making it real. Carl said, God bless you, my friend. Going to bed. Have a good night. Yes, sir. I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Make sure that you swing by. We're gonna be talking about all kinds of crazy stuff tomorrow. I really appreciate you coming through, Carl. But yeah, we're not supposed to be wasting our time and wasting our effort and wasting our finances and then saying, oh, life sucks. Times is hard. Times are hard because you make time hard. Life is stressful because you make life stressful. If you can find a way to navigate through your life where you can start itemizing your bullshit so that you got less bullshit to deal with, you will find that you will have a peaceful life. Now I understand when you affiliate with people that don't really give a shit about your time clock, that they will show up and aggravate the fuck out of you in situations that they're not supposed to be aggravating the fuck out of you in. And yeah, I'm using some adult language because I want you guys to understand exactly how frustrating the situation gets. You will have people that will bother you. You got to deal with that. You will have people that will come at the most inconvenient time. When you specifically said, don't come at this time, that's when they'll show up. Some people do that to test you. Some people do that to get acknowledgement because negative attention is better than no attention at all. But what you have to understand is that you have to take time out of your day to recant, reinvent, and reinvest. You got to get back out there. Get you a positive position and start working on better you. But it's not going to be easy to do. Everything in life is hard. Anybody who says otherwise is lying to you. There is nothing in life is easy. Not even being a child is easy because you got to do as you're told and not understand why, because the adults don't have enough respect for you to tell you what the hell is going on. You just got to follow instructions blindly, knowing that this ain't going to end well because you're smart enough based on your analyzation of what the adults have been doing to see that this is not going to end well. But nobody's going to listen to you because you're not old enough to have an opinion. Then the problem is that if you voice your opinion, not only will they slap the taste out your mouth because you talk back to the adults, they're going to take credit for acting on your opinion. So you can't even say that it's easy being a child, especially if you're a highly intelligent child that is more mature for your age. So life is not easy. But what we have to understand is that even though life is not easy, we still have to respect and appreciate the fact that everything that is worth having is worth trying for. We can't keep saying that everything that is worth having is worth fighting for, because you should not have to fight for what's yours. You fight for what's not yours. Because if it ain't yours, you fighting to get it. You don't conquer your own kingdom. You conquer other people's kingdoms. We also say, well, you shouldn't fight for what's not yours. Well, I mean, if she ain't yours, you shouldn't be out there trying to get yourself knocked out for that. Usman says, reporter, Mr. President, are the rumors true? President, folks, settle down. The mafia is not back. It was Xander walking down the street in his Italian stitch suit and growing the local economy. Oh man, I love these. I'm gonna have to put some of these on some t-shirts. These are some good sayings. I try to rotate out all of my suits, make sure I'm wearing a different suit every week. Try to wear I got a different suit on every day. But yeah, we have to maintain a different precedent. And if we did, we would see a better outcome. So Usman, we're going over some questions and comments from the fans. We got some reckless comments that I'm playing for y'all to listen to some of the stuff that I got going through my feed. I want y'all to see the scoop and the skinny for some of these so that you guys can let me know what you think about them. Let me go ahead and move on to the next one.
I only really knew him for 2 months. I keep trying to figure out if this is just limerence or infatuation, but I don't think it is. I'm living my life as I normally would. It hasn't stopped me from taking on new experiences or investing my time on myself and friends and family, but I have lost sleep just thinking about being in his arms again. I'm trying to gaslight myself every day, telling myself it was all in my head. How could I possibly have fallen for a guy I don't know? Because how could I know someone after 2 months? But I can't shake this feeling. I tell myself every day, I'm probably not even a thought on his mind. Why am I losing sleep thinking about him? I've been trying to grieve the connection I thought we had, and I can't seem to shake it off. I'm trying to tell myself if it's meant to be, we'll find our way back. I don't think I've ever felt this way before. It's a little scary. I feel vulnerable. I feel stupid, but I'm trying to be kind to myself. It's hard. I just don't know how to move on from this. This experience has really shaken me. I'm trying to look at the positive. At the bare minimum, I've gained a new perspective and pride towards my culture, which I haven't allowed myself to explore most of my life. Meeting him has inspired me to be a better version of myself. I've since spent more time with my dog, teaching him new tricks and stimulating his brain. I've enrolled myself in ASL classes, which I've been meaning to do for years. I've looked inward and started tackling some of the baggage I've accumulated over the years. I've officially gone sober. Not that I had a problem with substance, but I've been sober curious for over a year now, and I want to live life without any substance / I want to practice self-discipline. I don't know where I am going with this, but I just wanted to let this out. I'm just a girl crying at 3:48 a.m. over a connection with a stranger I only met for 2 months, looking to connect with others in my situation.
So, welcome to being a man. She found somebody who compelled her to change. He impacted her life so much that she's willing to change her whole life. That is the same behavior that men get when they are meeting women that they are infatuated with. And I got to tell you, it is a tough scenario to grasp. We, a lot of the times as men, have to find a way to regroup after we have met what we feel like is considered the woman of our dreams. And she ends up turning out to not be the woman of our dreams, because despite all of our efforts, she ends up moving on without us. And it is wild, crazy, ridiculous that no matter how hard we try, that one person, we can't get that person to stay. Now, here's the other part about it, because ladies, I got to ask y'all if y'all recognize this in your day-to-day operations. You got with a man, and because of this man, you have improved your decision-making skill. You have improved your behavior. You have improved your involvement in life. You have improved the way you socialize with your network. You have improved so many different things in your life because of this man. Now, let me ask you something, ladies. And I want y'all to be honest about it. Think about it. You don't have to comment in the comment section, but I really wish that you would. When have you ever had that impact on a man where he changed his whole life for the better, not because he's trying to repair what you destroyed, but because you inspired him to do and be better? Where your presence impacted his life so positively that he puts forth extra effort to be better at living his life than what he was before he met you. Now, ladies, until one of y'all can step forward and say exactly how many times that's happened in your life, if it's ever happened in your life, and how long ago that was, I'm going to tell you that only happens to women of value. When a valuable woman gets a bad man, she leaves an impact on his life, a positive impact on his life. When a good man gets a bad woman, she leaves a negative impact on his life. A good man has to rebuild. A bad man, a good man with a bad woman has to rebuild. A bad man with a bad woman has to rebuild. But a good man and a bad man with a good woman will evolve. If a man gets with a good woman, he will evolve. Long story short. So you guys can determine it for yourselves whether or not you're women of value. Because if in the event that you put forth that type of motivation to somebody, and this isn't threatening, this isn't demanding, this isn't, cutting him off if he doesn't do, this is just because your existence in his life positively impacted him in a way where he decided on his own to just be better. That's when you know that you're a good woman. Now, if y'all can think about all the men that y'all broke up with, and y'all could think about how they're the exact same way they were when you found them, or they're worse off now than what they were when you found them, then you've got to understand that you need to change the way you behave. Because if you are not leaving a positive impact on his life, where is your value? And then you can say, oh, I left him because he ain't shit. But Miss Ma'am, how valuable were you if he didn't benefit from your existence at all? Usman says also, if it fails, the lady will have her girlfriends help her through it. From what I've seen, men will get hit with man up and move on. That's true. Usman also says that good man, bad woman scenarios you just gave remind me of logic gates. Yeah, that's true. That's also true. But yeah, we typically, as men, we were taught as children not to be emotional. Men aren't supposed to cry. Men aren't supposed to express their feelings. It is called a zero-sum game. And bad man plus bad woman equals zero. Also a zero-sum game. So the thing is that since men are taught to not express themselves, not show their feelings, and and good man plus good woman equals to one positive relationship. And that's one of the wild sides of it, because since we're not taught to express ourselves, since we're actually taught to not express ourselves, what problems we experience now is that as adults, one man will see another man suffering, and the most he'll do is buy him a drink. And then tell him, man up, bro. Man up and move on. Men don't even feel comfortable with crying on another man's shoulder because that's too feminine. We don't want to be perceived as feminine. We lose our masculinity for some reason if we have to cry in front of another man. Women have a support group. Women are not nearly as vulnerable as men, but men are not allowed to express their vulnerability. So women can overly express their vulnerability and then get support, confirmation, validation. This is why a woman will go through a man's phone, go through a man's apps, go through a man's search history, go through a man's GPS signal, track all of his whereabouts so that she can build a case for society, so that she can present to her family, her friends, all of the people that she wants to be naysayers with her, to say that he was a bad guy, that she's better than him, that she deserves better, so that she can get that emotional support, that false sense of confidence that she's doing the right thing. The right thing was to not tell nobody nothing about him. The right thing was to fix whatever the fuck up was. The right thing was to get over there and communicate with him your discomfort, so that he could put forth proactive behavior to fix your discomfort. The right thing was for you to find out what his discomfort was that led to him behaving in a fashion that was discomfortable for you, so that you can fix his discomfort so that he could stop discomforting you. That was the right thing. But that's not what a lot of women do. A lot of women, girl, he was over by such and such. He was with so-and-so. I seen his car at the strip club. I seen his car at so-and-so house. He said he was at work and he was down the street. Child, he ain't shit. This, that, and the third. This is what we get. But not now, man. Bro, I see my girl hooking up with so-and-so. Say they so. You could have two of your homeboys see your girl throat deep with another man. You know what I mean? They'll come and tell him, and he'll say, that wasn't my girl. That couldn't have been my girl. That's how men think. Women think, child, I bet you he cheating on you. He ain't answering the phone. Man got a fucking 18-hour shift. He'll work double overtime so he could pay for that $10,000 ring. But because he ain't answer that phone, girl, he got to be cheating. He got to be cheating. Child, if I was you, I'd go by his job, see if he there. Oh, go check. Just because his car there don't mean that he'll be there. Go check. Go talk to the boss. Go ask him to take a break so he can come talk to you. Make sure he at the job, girl, because you know how them men are. Naysayers, right? Usman said also, if it was the lady's fault, her girlfriends would still say, girl, he was in the wrong. Oh, hold on. Oos, it gets worse than that, because you got some females where when they doing the man dirty, you know what the women say? Get him, girl. Take it all. Take it all. Take everything he got, girl. If he got extra, take it for him. If I was you, I'd have asked for double. That's what they do. They support negative reinforcement. Their volatility towards each other, their self-sabotaging behavior projected upon their colleagues, their feminist colleagues, sabotages the success of their colleagues. But at no point do they ever support each other in a fashion to say, girl, go work that out with him. He's a good man. Don't let him get away. No, never do they say, girl, if I was you, I would put in extra effort. They never say, girl, if I don't know why you mad at him. He trying. All they say is, he ain't shit, girl. You can do this by yourself. You don't need him. Look, I've been single for however many years. But all of them are looking for the same thing. Now, how are y'all going to find that top 1% if all of y'all crabs in a bucket is encouraging each other to be not valuable for the top 1%? Because 1% of the U.S. men is about 1,635,000 men across 50 states. Which really, when you divide that up, you're looking at close to about a couple 100,000 men per state out of a few million people per state, which is roughly 1 to 2% of the population, literally. So I don't understand why, if all y'all competing against one another, probably that's why, that y'all are negatively encouraging each other to self-sabotage. Probably, if you think about it like this, ladies, if your homegirl is telling you to do your boyfriend bad, you need to get rid of your friend. If your homegirl is telling you to leave your man, you need to do away with your friend. Unless he's physically abusive, you need to do away with your friend. If your friend is encouraging you to take advantage of your man, you need to get rid of your friend. Why? Because if they're going to encourage you to perform negative behavior in your relationship, which will lead you to not be in a relationship, you will be single with them. If you're not successful and they're not successful, y'all are not successful together. That's crabs in a bucket mentality. If she's single, she don't want to be single. You don't want to be single. Your mom don't want to be single. Grandma don't want to be single. You don't want to grow up like the cat lady with 35 cats and no man. All of y'all should be trying to figure out what y'all can do to keep a man, because while women can say, ooh, I'm single by choice, how many of these women can say that I'm married by choice? Not many. How many of these divorced women can say that they are 20 years into this marriage by choice? No. Usman said, why do women find it important that their girlfriends like or approve? It makes no sense. Oh, validation. Women need more confirmation and validation than men. Men need validation and confirmation, but we never get it. Women get validation and confirmation so much in their life that they can't function without it. A woman can't make a decision without 10, 15, 20 different women putting in a positive comment for it. A woman can't make, that's why a woman can't put on an outfit without asking her man if she looked fat in that outfit. Sweetheart, if you don't feel comfortable in the outfit, take the bitch off. But if you ask me what I think that you should wear something else, something that's not clinging to your flesh, something that's not cutting off the circulation to your genitals where you can end up with a yeast infection, something that's not showing off all your bare assets, if you ask me. But logic dictates if your stomach is hanging over your pants, it probably don't fit you right. If you can see the bottom of your belly below the belt buckle on your pants, the clothes are probably too tight. If there's a crack in the back, your clothes are probably too tight. If there's wind blowing on your chest, your top is probably too low. If you can feel a breeze below your neckline is probably too low. If your shoulders are cold, that's probably because you need some damn sleeves. I shouldn't have to give you my coat if you dress for the fucking winter. It's cold outside. You dressing like spring break in the summertime. And it's 50 something degrees out here, cold fronts and shit. And you sitting over here dressing for the damn summertime talking about something. I look cute. No, you look like a whore and you're attracting men that are going to treat you as such, but you've got a man. You want me to say, oh, I'm sexually attracted to you in that outfit so that you know that other men will be sexually attracted to you in that outfit so that you can get all of these men looking at you as you pass by, which validates you even more. But why can you falsely validate yourself and call you a 10 when you have room for improvement? But you won't validate yourself and dress modestly and say, you know what? I don't need society to tell me that I look cute. I know I look cute. I can dress like a nun and look cute. I could take the sheets off of my windows, take the curtains off my windows and wrap up like the women in Dubai. And I know I look cute up underneath this. You understand? Why do I got to show the print in the front and the crack in the back to look cute? Why do I got to show the nipples in the front to look cute? Why can't I look cute without none of that being exposed? That's because they need that validation. Without that validation, they would feel like they are worthless. Because again, most women, until they're in their almost 50s, do not have to show their value. It's not that they're not valuable. They do not have to show their value. Now, the problem is, you know that old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't know what your value is and you forget what your value is, then ultimately you'll be in a situation where you don't know your value. Then when somebody asks you what your value is, you devalue them by saying, oh, you shouldn't ask me that. It's sexist. It's misogynistic. It's demoralizing. It's not demoralizing, because if you ask me what makes me valuable as a man, I'm about to go through my portfolio for you. What makes me valuable as a man? The fact that I can protect you without a Glock switch. The fact that I can blade Trinity out the boot without extra rounds. The fact that I could take down your enemy without you having to do anything other than clean the blood out of my clothes. The fact that I could pay for your standard of living until I get out after I finish doing what I got to do to make sure that you're safe. That's what makes me valuable. That you will have a life with me. You will have a life without me. You will have a life until I return. And when I return, you will have a life with me. Because they ain't going to keep me in there forever. Not too many men can say that, though. Yeah. And the fact is, you ask a woman what, not one woman will ever say, sweetheart, if you've got to protect me, I'll cover it up for you. Not one woman will say, if you got to protect me, I'll put money on your books. Not one woman will say, oh, if you have to protect me, I'm going to build up your estate so that when you get out, that you got more than what you had when you went in. Not one woman going to say that. But I guarantee you, a good man's like, look, I got you, bro. I got you. The for better part is that we don't have no problems. The for worse part is that I got to wear an orange jumpsuit for 5 to 10 because I had to do something that I wasn't expecting on doing to make sure that you was okay. But because I did what I had to do for you, that you're going to wait for me. And when I get out, we going to be together because I did that for you. That's what men are there for. To take the big hits, to take the big risks, to put their life, their safety, their freedom on the line for you. You are supposed to respect and honor them for that. That is your sacrificial lamb, the man that you chose, which is why you listen to them. Usman said to me, requiring regular validation equals mental immaturity of a high schooler, the mental maturity of a high schooler. It is the mental immaturity of a high schooler, but I know what you mean, Usman. And it's not necessarily a high schooler. It's a little less than that, sir. It's actually, to be honest with you, it's probably equivalent to a second or third grader, a first. Remember the terrible twos. Well, you might not remember it, but if you've got a family member that's got children, somewhere between 2 and 5 years old, everything is mine. And if the child don't get it, the child bursts into tears. Mine. Gimme. That attitude, that's an adult woman. Not all of them, just the ones that are making the bad choices. When they change that attitude, that's when they start putting themselves into a better position. But until they change that attitude, they're making the type of choices that are self-sacrificing and catastrophic. And until the men pay attention to that type of attitude as a red flag, we're going to be hooking up with the girl because she's sexually attractive, but we're volunteering for a toxic relationship because we're looking for sex. And the easier she is, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, if she's good in bed, she's got a high body count, because if she don't know what she's doing, she ain't never did it before. But if she know what she's doing, that means she got experience. Now, women believe that having experience is a good thing because she can more satisfy her man in the bedroom. It's not a good thing because while, yes, you can satisfy him in the bedroom, it comes with its negative consequences because you still have the trauma. Yeah, you might be good in bed, but you're also checking my surveillance cameras to see if I brought somebody home and trying to sneak them in the house. Yeah, you might be good in bed, but you're tracking my phone to make sure that I am where I say I am. Yeah, you might be good in bed, but you're popping up on my job. You're not even bringing me nothing to eat. You're popping up on my job to make sure that I'm at work. You stopping by my grandmama house. You stopping by my mama house and them, and you looking for me like I'm missing an action or some shit. Then when I come home, I get home a few minutes late, caught in traffic, traffic jam or something like that with car accident or something like that on my way home from work. Or I had to take the long way because I had to stop and go get something along the way because I didn't come home and check in. All of a sudden, you're accusing me of doing something that I didn't do. This is the type of mental trauma that comes from that high body count. So it is not valuable to a man for you to be good in bed and be mentally traumatized just because you're good in bed. That if we could get a woman that's bad in bed that's not mentally traumatized, we could teach you what we want you to do in the bedroom and then not have to deal with the trauma, the extra baggage. Because ladies, and I say this seriously, most of y'all don't want a man with a bunch of extra baggage. Y'all don't want a man with a bunch of extra trauma. So why is it that a man is supposed to accept you with extra baggage and extra trauma if you don't want a man with extra baggage and extra trauma? That makes no sense. So stop putting yourself in a position where you're full of trauma and you're full of baggage. Usman said there's an experiment which shows children and toddlers could be surrounded by toys and playing with one particular toy. As soon as you pick up a random toy, the child will drop their toy and demand yours. And that particular experiment is equivalent to adult women who don't want a man stay single until they see a man with a woman, and they will help that man cheat on his woman. She wants her man, but she don't want to keep her own man. It's the exact same thing. That science experiment is how these women are behaving right now. It's the lower value women that behave this way, though, not the women of value. The lower value women behave this way. But yes, that is exactly the case. I don't need a man. I don't need a man. I don't need a man. But oh, that's a good man. He's with a woman. I'm gonna try to take her man. And she will go over there. She will entice him. She'll put extra effort into him. And then after she finished getting the man, sleeping with the man, ruining the man's relationship, then off into the sunset. But the woman, now I'm talking about this because the woman whose relationship is destroyed now is hating men because the other woman took her man. Now, ladies, I just want to ask y'all real quick, why is it that y'all are taking advice from each other and then y'all are taking y'all's men from each other, and y'all believe that y'all should back each other up and support each other in women's pride and women's liberation and femininity and all this other stuff, but you're self-sacrificing your womanhood, the pro-woman movement, you're self-sacrificing the womanhood so that you could take her man, because the man that you had, you didn't want him. You want the man that she had. But y'all are saying that it's the man's fault that y'all behave this way. I don't understand that part. Make it make sense for me, ladies. Usman says some of those single women want to keep their friends single too. Yes, sir, they do. Well, I mean, I can't be the only person with a problem. So if everybody is single with me, it's not just me, because we're all single. I don't have to recognize my failure if I'm not the only person failing. But if everybody in my network is succeeding and I'm failing, and we're all in the same environment, so we all have the same opportunity to succeed, the only person failing, that's when I have to stop and look at my failure. The reason why women keep each other single is because the single women do not have to look at their individual failure. If all the women in their circle are single, they can then give out the false statement that we're single by choice. We're single by choice when we're not single by choice. There's 11 of us at this table, and 15 men have come to this table, and one of us has shooed off each one of the men. So the 11 of us are single because 6 or 7 of us kept the other 5 from getting a man. That's why we're all single. We're not single because the men ain't shit. We're single because we're unilaterally keeping each other single. We're deliberately keeping each other single. And we're doing it, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, we're doing it to keep from recognizing our own individual failures that causes us to be single. No guy will encourage his homeboy to stay single. Well, no guy that hasn't been emotionally traumatized in a relationship, at least. Guys will encourage you to talk to her, fix it, work it out, man up, get back in there, do it again. Or a man will say, don't even get started. You're not successful enough. Go make yourself successful, then go find a woman. When you find that woman, put all the effort into it. That's why men don't quit, because men are taught by other men, don't give up on your woman. No matter how bad the situation is, don't give up on your woman. Women are taught, give up on your man. No matter how good the situation is, give up on your man. That's the reason why 70 to 90% of relationships end with the woman leaving the man because of her lack of satisfaction. And men 10 to 30% of the time are leaving the women because they don't like the way they're being treated, and she cheated on him. But 100% of the time in a breakup, the man is not happy. Only 70 to 90% of the time is the woman not happy. Women are going to say that's wrong. I've pulled up the statistics multiple times on the show. But the reason why I say this is that 100% of the time, the man is not happy, because the 10 to 30% of the time that the man leaves in a breakup, he is not happy with her because of what she's done or what she's not doing. The other 70 to 90% of the time when the woman leaves, the man is not happy, because statistically, when a woman is not happy in a relationship, she deliberately makes the man miserable so that he is not happy until she is happy. So if she is not happy to the magnitude that she is leaving, she has made sure that she has systematically taken all the happiness out of the relationship with her before she left. She is watching the misery before she leaves. And then when she leaves, some women actually circle back to marinate on the misery that he is existing in after she left, before she moves on. So if she's leaving, neither one of them is happy. But if he's leaving, he's not happy. So there's never a breakup where the man is happy. He didn't know what was going on. She just left because she wasn't being taken care of. Doesn't happen. That's one of the reasons why this podcast exists, because fellas, we've got to recognize if the situation ain't going well for us, that we have got to stop this shit early, because the longer the relationship lasts, the harder it is for us to walk away from it, because we put so much time into it. We put so much effort into it. We invested so much of our resources into it. It is harder for us to say, I'm going to leave, the longer we stay in it. We give that advice to women that are in abusive relationships. First time he hits your girl, leave. Don't wait for the fifth time, because it's going to start with the slap, to a punch, to a fight, to objects, to you not waking up. So, fellas, don't deal with that abuse. Let's go ahead and tiptoe on to the next one, because we do got some. We almost there.
At 19 years old, my boyfriend, who's 20 right now, has a Grindr profile. How do I bring this up to him? I've been with my boyfriend for 2 years now, and he's always said he is straight, and as far as I know, has only dated women in the past. But a friend recently came across his profile on Grindr and showed it to me to confirm it's him. We are in an exclusive relationship, and a picture on the profile is from a camping trip we went on 3 months ago, and he's never mentioned being interested in men, so I'm unsure how to approach this. Not only would he be cheating on me, or at least trying to, he also would have not been honest about his sexuality with me. How do I bring this up? I'm honestly just hurt. I broke up with him. There's not much to the story. He came over, I told him I know about his Grindr account, and I break up with him. He didn't say anything, he seemed surprised, but he just up and left.
Hold on a second. So yeah, basically, what else was he supposed to say? He Lord have mercy, it hit me a second time. So the fact is that you're in this if he's got a Grindr account, that's none of your damn business. what his sexuality is not your concern. What is your concern is whether or not he is faithful to you. If he is exercising and utilizing his Grindr account where he's logged into his account, hooking up with anybody, and you wanted a monogamous exclusive relationship, then that's something that you guys need to talk about. But they got, hold on a second. Usman says, in my opinion, so many of these problems could be solved if people tried to find God. So many of these problems would be solved if they minded their own goddamn business. Because Lord knows you're not supposed to cheat on your wife, but you are supposed to be honest. She is supposed to be loyal. So you are supposed to be able to tell her what your preferences are, and she is supposed to be able to try her best to accommodate that. If you can't be your true self because she will judge you negatively, then that is going to leave error for deception. If your needs are not being met, that's going to put you in a relationship where you are going to end up fulfilling those needs somewhere else. It doesn't matter what those needs are. What matters is that if she really wanted to know what kind of man she had, she would have given him an area of judgment-free, ridicule-free, rejection-free transparency. That way he could tell her what style of life he got, what style of sexuality he got, because they've got people who like men and women. There's nothing wrong with that type of preference. It's all over the Bible. People say in the book that, oh, it's supposed to be incest is bad and all of this fluid sexuality, but unnecessary lust is what was talked about. That was the sin, not guy on guy action or anything like that. It was the unnecessary lust that was the sin part. Okay. And not nowhere in there did they say, ooh, lust was going, Lot was going to hell because he got both of his daughters pregnant in the mountains. Both of his daughters got pregnant in the mountains after mom got turned to salt when Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed, where Lot and Lot's family was the only non-sinful family in the entire city. And Lot's two daughters who gave birth to his two sons, those two sons became kings. And out of those two kings, one of those kings committed a sin because he was doing what? Lusting after the other man's wife, where that man's wife was his sister. So nowhere in there was what they're talking about in a lot of these churches, where the ability to engage in a romantic interlude with someone else in an appropriate fashion was considered the sin. But in order to make it blasphemy and manipulate the masses, you just talk about it in a negative light. Now, the fact is that even if they were one with God, it doesn't change the fact that you're supposed to be one with your spouse. You're supposed to be one with your partner, which means that you guys are supposed to have an understanding of each other. And that understanding requires you guys to be able to communicate and listen and rationalize with each other what your likes and dislikes are, what your expectations are. And if you do that, then you will find a whole lot more success in your relationships than what you would find if you're in a situation where you've got to keep secrets from your girlfriend, where you got to keep secrets from your husband, where you've got a secret family on the other side, like Usher, Let It Burn, and I Got Confessions. You wouldn't have all this shit if you were open and transparent. You would not have affairs on the sidelines as often as you do if the needs and expectations that you had was happening in your relationship. Take a man that dates a woman regardless of her age. He marries the woman. She can't have children. He still wants children. He goes out of town for work. He finds a younger woman. He gets that woman pregnant. She drops a child off at his house. Now he has a confession to his girlfriend. If he would have been communicating with his wife and she would have been listening to him, he wants a child. She can't give him one, whether she hit menopause, whether it's a birth defect, whatever the case may be. If he wants a child and she can't give him one, he wants a child of his own. She should be able to figure out a way to at least acquire a surrogate mother so that he could get the child that he wants, so that he don't have to get another woman pregnant the old-fashioned way, so that he can still get the kid that he wants and still be monogamous in a relationship. Because he wants the DNA to be his. He doesn't want to have to go through the action all the time. He wants the DNA to be his. Some men would be absolutely satisfied with the woman who can't have children, to allow him to get a surrogate mother to produce a child for him so that he has his legacy. But y'all got to talk that stuff out. If y'all don't talk that stuff out, you're setting him up for failure, which is going to put him in a position where he's going to get it from somewhere if he's not getting it from you. And that's why I brought that up. Usman said, I grew up with a Islamic background, hence the teachings are in my head and I know what I stand for. Modern Westerns raised in godliness households can't explain to their kids why it's wrong. Bro, I can't find too many godly households in the Western culture right now. Not even from the church. Because a lot of the women in the church are retired whores. They're not. Think about it now. The pastor's daughter was out there throwing it back and back shots and everything like that, rebelling against her father. A lot of the older women in the church are not women of God. Well, they're not godliness or godly. They're not with the moral and ethical background that they were raised on. So as adults, what they were raised on as children don't apply to them as adults. But the men, it's more often than not beaten into the men, and the men carry a lot more of it more often than not than the women. But the women, there are women out there with a larger hereditary religious background. Those women are going to be more of the higher value women that are going to be more restrained and more positioned to show that self-control. Not all the women that are nuns are virgins from birth. A lot of those women, this is the funniest things, y'all. You look at the people in the church with the highest levels of respect. And I don't want you to change your opinion of that, but I want you to understand that no matter which Catholic, Christian, Baptist, Seventh-day Adventist church that you go to, if you talk to the pastor, if you talk to the priest, if you talk to whoever runs the church, if you talk to the brothers and sisters of the congregation, all of them have gone through an extremely traumatic situation in their life where they devoured themselves from their past sins, where they were whores, where they indulged in gluttony, greed, lust, stopped doing that, and then devoted themselves to God, where they are retired whores, man whores, women whores, they're retired whores, and now they're devoting themselves to God. Right? Now, that means that you're not going to really go over there and find a 45-year-old virgin. You're not going to go there and find a 30-year-old virgin, male or female. You're not going to go there and find a person that has not succumbed to lust too many times in their life, man or woman. They just stop doing it after a while, right? Usually middle age, in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. That's when they stop. But before that, when they were 18, when they were 14, 15, 16, which is why the men are going to jail for it, 17, 18, 19, they was out there throwing it back. And in the Western culture, that has been so common. So, there are very few true to life, God-fearing families in the Western culture that adhere to the traditional values of the Christian and Catholic beliefs, where they actually practice from birth the ability to show self-control and self-discipline. That's the reason why OnlyFans can be considered a career choice. That's the reason why there are so many female porn stars that they have their own adult Oscars where they are giving each other the Woody, which is a giant Oscar shaped like a dildo, where it's a $1 billion industry. Because while they degrade and devalue themselves for money, as much as $100,000 a month, enough men are paying to watch it, where they are lusting, greed, gluttony. Okay, it all the way around. The Western culture is devoid of sin. However, We have to understand that as we navigate this, we still have to figure out a way. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. And if you're here on Twitch and Twitter, make sure that y'all hit that follow button. You guys have to remember that you can still, through the den of sin, find salvation, find you a good partner, and work with that partner for a better future. You just got to change your mentality. You have to encourage them to follow your lead. They have to respect you enough to follow your lead. Y'all have to work together. Y'all have to rely on each other, to hold each other accountable, to not be unnecessarily lustful, to not be unnecessarily greedy, to not indulge yourself in unnecessary greed. You have to teach each other how not to waste your money on stuff that you don't need, to not spend extra money on stuff that you're not going to benefit from in the future, because that's how you make yourself more financially successful. That's how you make you build your lifestyle to be a better lifestyle. But because we lust for, we spend extra money on that, we're greedy, so we take more than what we give, and then the gluttony, we're indulging ourselves in more than what we should be indulging ourselves in, and then we end up in a life of poverty. And we wonder why. Usman said, respectfully, Zan, you read the second part of my paragraph comment wrong. You are correct that religion is on the decline in the West. I might have read that wrong. Well, I know that you had godliness in there, and I might have read it wrong, but I see what you said on that comment here. You said I grew up with an Islamic background, hence the teachings are in my head. So you memorize them. You said I know what I stand for, which there are a lot of the good men that do. You said modern Westerners raised in godliness households can't explain to their kids why it's wrong. Yeah, I probably misinterpreted it as I was commenting while I was reading it. But yeah, the Western culture is on a massive decline, which is what you were explaining. And that's what I'm explaining too, is that it is on a massive decline. And that's one of the reasons why it's on a massive decline. The other reason why it's on a massive decline is because we don't have proper guidance. The last generation of proper guidance was probably 2 generations ago, which are people in their 70s and 80s. The last 2 generations of kids that where we're in our 60s and 50s. Oh, you said godless, not godliness. Oh, okay. So the second time you typed it, I seen godless and I seen the I. Okay, I see what you're saying. So you're explaining it as the households in the Western culture are without God. And that they're behaving. Correction, ladies and gentlemen. So Usman is right. I am misrepresenting his statement. So Usman is right. Yes, they are acting without the views of God, but they're actually acting without the training of, because they're lost and they have yet to be found. And it is supposed to be the responsibility of the members of the church to go out and find those that are lost and educate them appropriately. But it takes those that are knowledgeable to go find those that are unknowledgeable, take them out of the den of sin and show them the light, show them a new way. But unfortunately, if you're indulging in sin, you can't help somebody else not indulge in sin because you're too busy indulging in sin. And that's one of the reasons why the entire culture is lost, because there's so many people that are trying to get theirs that they're forgetting that they're supposed to be helping everybody else get theirs. If we are all working together to be better, then we would not have so many people failing. But if I'm selfish and greedy, the person next to me is selfish and greedy, the person next to him is sexually selfish and greedy, then nobody's helping nobody else change. Nobody's helping nobody else move up. But if I'm focused on your success and you're focused on my success, and somebody else is focused on our success, and we're focused on their success, outside looking in, we see you making a mistake, we're going to check you on that. Outside looking in, I see you making a mistake, I'm going to check you on that. Outside looking in, Usman just seen me make a mistake and he checked me on that. So now I got to correct myself. That's how that's supposed to be. First person accountability is that I'm responsible for myself and I'm responsible for the people around me. He's responsible for himself and he's responsible for the people around him. While he's on this podcast, I'm in his network. He's responsible for me. So if I'm making a mistake, he's supposed to correct me on that. And when I make a mistake, I'm supposed to take first person accountability that I made a mistake and correct that, learn from it, improve it so that I'm no longer making that mistake. And that's what we're all supposed to be doing for one another. The common sense is only common because it is common knowledge that is taught to everybody. It is common knowledge that is taught to the next generation. Before there was internet, there was books. And when knowledge was passed from person to person, it wasn't easily accessible on person to person because one person read it in a book and told 1,000 people what was in that book. Back in the day, before there was books, everybody told stories because through those stories passed on knowledge and information and messages. Now that we have social media, so much more information is access to everybody. We could just Google whatever the heck we want to know. Most of us can be our own lawyer if we took the time to use one of those AI software machines to literally research the legal advice that we can't afford to pay for a lawyer. But the information is so accessible that nobody looks for it. Then nobody is going to teach anybody what they learned, because if I give away all my trade secrets, you're going to do better than me. You'll be more successful than I was because you learned from me. I got to keep these under my belt so that I have a leg up on you. That is not how we're supposed to be. Because if I help you become more successful than me, then what do you think I have? I have an asset because you will invest in me because I made you successful. So now I could tell you, hey, I helped you get $1 million. Why don't you invest in this deal for me real quick so that we can both make a little bit more money? Instead of me saying, no, I'm going to keep all my money in my pocket. Then because you stay doing bad, I'm going to throw you a little bit of money like a charity case and then gloat about that. Oh, I give my friends money all the time because they be hard up. Instead of saying, oh, I make my friends money all the time. They profit off of me all the time. And as a result, they invest in what I got going on. So I don't have to ask them for money. I just got to tell them I'm about to do something that's going to make some money. And they just start throwing money at me. That is when you are personally more successful because you put your effort into somebody else. If your network benefits from you, you will benefit from your network. But if your network does not from you, plain and simple. Usman said there's a teaching in Islam that if you see one of your brothers failing or falling short, so if you see one of your brothers falling short, advise him in private. Don't shame him in public. We talked about this on a show a few days ago. You start recognizing yourself as a higher valued individual instead of you yelling and fussing and cussing at the other person because they're making a mistake. You see this on the TVs and the movies, and you think, oh, that mob boss is so big. That mob boss is so powerful because he's in a room full of people. And a man walks up or a woman walks up, gets right up in that person's ear and starts whispering something into that person's ear, and then walks out of the room. Nobody knows what they talked about, but actions are being taken. If you respect your brethren and your brethren respects you, if you respect your sisterhood and your sisterhood respects you, if you respect your husband and your husband respects you, if you respect your wife and your wife respects you, nobody should be saying nothing negative about nobody in the public ear. If I got a problem with what you got going on, I should approach you about it when it's just the two of us. If I disagree with what you're saying, I should not voice my disagreements until it's just the two of us. Which means that for those of y'all that got children in the household, that if y'all are not agreeing right now, we're not having this discussion while the kids are in the house and can hear it, because you're still not alone. You let the kids go spend a night by their friend's house, and now we're going to have this discussion. You should be able to make it a point to have a life with your children where they never hear mom and dad arguing. They never hear mom and dad disagreeing. You might spend a lot of time by your friend's house because your parents got a lot of stuff to talk about, but you will never hear your mama and daddy yelling at the top of their voice. Because if y'all are in it together, y'all are supposed to be able to advise each other, correct each other, rectify the issues in the privacy of just the two of you. So no Walmart scenarios, no Waffle House scenarios, no Target scenarios. Nobody should be recording what y'all got going on and putting it up on social media. You shouldn't be telling your friends about it. You shouldn't be telling your family about it. Nobody should know what's going on in y'all marriage. No one should know what's going on in y'all relationship. You should not get validation from your homegirls because you messing up. If everybody else know that your relationship got problems, guess what they're going to do? Add to the problems. If somebody know your house on fire, somebody going to throw gas on it. Less people will come to put your house out than people that'll come to throw gas on it and watch that bad boy burn. They'll record it, put it on social media and everything else. Ain't nobody going to come and help you stop the fire. I told y'all a story about this way back when. Man had a birthday, told his daughter to go tell everybody in the neighborhood, the family, to come to the birthday party. She went through the neighborhood, told everybody in the neighborhood that the house was burning down and asked them to come help. Everybody except for his family came out there to come help put the fire out. Man said ain't nobody at his birthday party that he know, and his child told him that these are the people that deserve to be here. Because they didn't come for the party, they came to help. That's a good story. And that ain't my story. I heard that story from somewhere else, but that's a good story because at the end of the day, if the people that you know only show up to benefit from you and they never show up to aid you, they're not valuable to you. And that goes back to exactly what I was just saying a moment ago, that if you invest in your network will be valuable to you. So if you're investing in your network and your network is being successful, guess what? From the perspective of the network, every time I talk to Usman is valuable to me. So that means that I'm going to be valuable to Usman. That's how that works. In our network, we are making sure that we're uplifting each other. We're making sure that we're learning from each other. We're making sure that we're improving each other. So nobody in my network will say, oh man, Xander drugged me down. Xander held me back. No, because every time you come to me, you get more than what you came for. And I ask you for nothing. So when it does happen, that I do tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, if you got it, can you? That's when you should say, dang, I've gotten so much out of him. I can't help but try to do something, even if it's just a little bit, because I really appreciate, I really value him, because it says it in the Quran and it says it in the Bible that gratitude typically comes from the person who has received favor from someone else having the desire to reciprocate that tenfold based off of their value versus their capabilities, their value in your efforts versus their capabilities to reciprocate those efforts. Those individuals provided to you tenfold, but they don't read that part of the scripture. They read the other part of the scripture where if you do something for somebody that you should get back tenfold, it should be pressed 10 times. It should be ratified. And then all your blessings are supposed to be coming after you give to somebody else. No. Your blessings came before you gave because you had gotten your blessings so that you had enough to give to somebody else and not have to do without. People don't think about that. They think about, well, if I give 10%, I'm going to get 100% back. If I give 10%, I'm going to give 10 times more back. No, you had gotten 10 times more so that you had the capabilities to give 10%. You already got it. You're using it now to bless somebody else. You got your blessing and you use your blessing to bless somebody else. But if you bless enough people, you got enough people there to, like Job under the tree. Everybody see him looking out for everybody else. He ain't paying attention to the people that's watching him. He's paying attention to the people that he's helping. When he does need help, the people are going to help him because they see that he will help other people. They may give him more because they know that he's going to take what they give him and give it to more people. You got lazy, generous people. You got lazy, generous people that will give it to you, that give you more stuff so that you can march all over the world and bring it to all the people who need it. So instead of you being mine, you say, hey, I got a list of people that I can help. The only thing that you got to do is just not exhaust yourself and spread yourself too thin. You're not supposed to have to do without for the sake of somebody else, which is why the Bible says that if you have two of where you got something extra, you give your extra to the next person who does not have, who has not. It doesn't say give your last to the next man. It says if you got more than one, so you got some and somebody else you got enough to give somebody else. So you got some and they got some. It don't never say take what you got and give it to somebody else. Take the coat off your back and give it to somebody else. No. But if you got two coats and somebody don't got a coat, give that person one of your coats. That way, neither one of y'all is cold. That's what's supposed to happen. If we start changing our mindset like that, we start acting, behaving like that, you start seeing a better culture. We was talking to the lady from Ukraine and she was talking about the war and everything like that. And I was telling her the way y'all treat one another in your own society ain't got nothing to do with the fight. Y'all could be in the midst of the world and still be at peace with each other. I'm not telling you to be at peace with your enemy, but I'm telling you that you could also not have chaos with your allies. There's a big difference there. Not too many people think about that. Usman said, you're right, but modern people love to share their drama on social media because that's how people get views. Because first of all, half of the culture loves drama. They look for conflict and they're entertained by other people's failure. So they will put so much effort into looking for other people's failure so that they can laugh at people, mock people, belittle people, down people, and then make themselves feel better because they're not going through that. Now, on the other side, you got a bunch of other people that just want attention. They're accepting negative attention. So they will put all of their failures on social media so that they can get a lot of views. They can get a lot of clicks. They can get a lot of likes. A lot of them are out there making an ass out of themselves so that they can make a bunch of money because you're getting $2,000 off of every 5 or 10 or 20 million views watching you make an ass out of yourself. So 500,000 people around the world know that you're a dumbass. And because of that, you got a $2,000 a month check like Steve-O from Jackass. You're a millionaire because you're an idiot. And people don't respect you, but they will watch you make a fool out of yourself so that you don't got to work hard. Your value is nil in your neighborhood, but you're famous. Oh, you're the idiot that dances across the floor on his back, messing up expensive suits. Oh, you're the chick from the OnlyFans thing. Not one of them will say, oh, you're that guy that gave a car to a man that was walking to work so that he wouldn't have to walk to work. You're that woman that gave to a man who didn't have enough for his kids. You're that man who gave to the school so that the school could function better after the government shut down and stopped taking care of the school. Don't nobody say that. You ain't never heard nobody go viral because they're being positive in their community. Not the average person. Yeah, when Kevin Kaepernick spent $250,000 on his birthday feeding homeless people one time in his life, oh yeah, they talked about that. Yeah, when Kevin Hart bought his old neighborhood and rebuilt it, yeah, they talked about that. But that's 2 people out of 365 days out of the year. Why do we not have like a whole TV show that talks about all the good things that people do year round? Because people don't do good shit year round. We typically isolate our good deeds to once a season at best. That's why we've got Valentine's Day. Don't forget you've got a partner. Women's Independence Day on the March 8th. Oh, don't forget that the women have value. Mother's Day. Don't forget that moms have value. Father's Day. Don't forget that men have value. Juneteenth, don't forget that Black people have value. Independence Day, don't forget that Americans have value. Cinco de Mayo, don't forget that Mexicans have value. Labor Day, don't forget that hardworking people have value. Veterans Day, don't forget that the military service people have value. President's Day, don't forget that the figurehead of the country has value. Christmas, don't forget the kids have value. Birthdays, don't forget that the people who are still alive have values. Memorial Day, don't forget that the people who died got value. One day out of the year, one season, don't forget that people have value. But if we value people every day, what would be the value in the damn holiday? There wouldn't be any value in a holiday because everybody would be getting valued every day. And you don't got to do a lot. Less more often. All you got to do is just say, thank you, good job, I appreciate you. A hug, a handshake, a high five, a fist bump, something. You know what I mean? Instead of being in such a rush all the time, stop moving and be able to tell a complete stranger, you know what? You doing all right today, bro. You doing all right. Holding down, doing it strong. The rest of his statement was you can move to a new town, follow the locals on social media, and find out partially who they are without ever talking. Bro, you got some folks. You can Google them and you know who they are. You know who they are. You know what they're about. You can follow the type of content on their feed. That's who they are. So the girls that's dirty dancing in the club, that's your image. The people that's drinking all the time, that's your image. The people that's smoking all the time, they always in rooms they got one little solo cup and a bunch of smoke in the background and a blunt in their hand, that's your image. Those people with weapons and they don't even know how to use them, they looking in a barrel and all this other stuff, that's your image. That is who you are. You know, you living in an apartment complex with a $500,000 car. You living in a low-income apartment complex with a $500,000 car. That's your image. Not the $500,000 car. The HUD house that you living in. That's your image. 32 pairs of Jordans on the wall. Wasteful. $350 a shoe on the wall as decorations. That's your image. Overly sexualizing yourselves. That is your image. So at the end of the day, people already know what you're about. If you wasteful, it shows. If you play too much, it shows. If you're irresponsible, it shows. You party too much, it shows. You degrade and devalue yourself too much, it shows. Women swear up and down that they're beautiful, but they don't want to show they natural, talking about I should be able to diversify. You should be able to diversify your ass back to the way you look before you were 12. That way your natural hair before mama started sewing stuff into your scalp, your natural eyelashes before you started gluing stuff to your face, your eyebrows before you started cutting them off and drawing them back on, the natural you that you forgot what it looked like because every month you redo your hairstyle and put something else in there. Every month you go and spend extra money on makeup. You have not gone. Ladies, I got a challenge for y'all. I want y'all to go 6 months, no makeup, no weave, no eyelashes, no fingernails, just 6 straight months of just natural you. Right? I want to see how many women can do it. I want to see how many women can do it because I don't think that many women are even going to try. But the same way they got No Shave November, where a man can stop shaving for 30 days, ladies, I want y'all to go because y'all hair will last y'all 6 weeks. I want y'all to go like 3 months without getting your hair done, 4 months without getting your hair done. No makeup, no nothing. No filters on your social media podcast, no nothing. Nothing. When you take a photo, no filters. Like just raw, unaltered, natural. I want to see what that look like. Matter of fact, some of y'all can post a natural you on the channel. I want to see what it look like. Because when we look at a girl with the little swoop with the edge control that she done did, that's the only natural hair that she got because everything behind that is a wig. Most of y'all got platform shoes and high heels and all this stuff, making yourself 7 inches taller. I want to see some of y'all with some flats on. I want to see how tall you really are. You know, let's get the natural you. No padded bras or nothing. Let's get the natural you. If your titty sagging to your belly button at 20 years old, let them sag. I want to see the natural you. No butt lifters, no waist training. If you got 3 stomachs, baby, flaunt them 3 stomachs at the same time without exposing them so much. Let's see what the natural you look like. But we so busy putting on a facade that we don't know no other way. And that's one of the reasons why in life it is hard for us to find the right person, because we're pretending like we're something that we're not. And then when we get somebody who's attracted to what we're not, then when we show them who we really are, they don't like that, because what they wanted is what we were pretending to be, instead of us being who we really are, so that they could want us for who we are. If you only changed your look maybe twice a year, where the rest of the year you was your natural self, the person that's attracted to you will be attracted to you for who you are. And the couple of times out the year that you change your look, it ain't going to change nothing, because you're going to go back to the you that they were attracted to when they met you. If you keep changing yourself to be something that you're not, at some point, they're attracted to what they found. You're going to have to keep that up. That's called upkeep. I'm not paying for upkeep. You got to pay for upkeep, because you pretending like you're something that you're not. That's one of the reasons why men step outside of their culture, because they're going to find a woman that don't put no effort into her looks. Because if she's naturally beauty, she don't have to put any effort into her looks. Her natural beauty allows me to love her for who she is, which is what women ask men to do. So if you want me to love you for who you are, why will you not show me who you are before I ask you what your name is? Why do you show me who you are after the honeymoon, but you won't show me who you are for the first 3 to 5 years that we're together? You got to put your face on. You got to put your hair on. You got to do all this other stuff to pretend like you're something that you're not, so that I can stay with you long enough to commit to you, get into a marriage with you. Then you show me who you are. That's too late. I done already invested in a bad stock. And ladies, and the reason why I say this, because if the shoe was on the other foot, you would never say that you're going to marry a man before you find out if he broke or not. You're not going to marry a man before you find out if he got his own place, if he got his own transportation, if he's got a job or not. You're not even going to want to date the guy if you don't know that he's financially stable. So why do you have to confirm that he is what he says he is, that he is what you're looking at and what you're thinking he is, before you go on the first date with him? But you're going to pretend like you're something that you're not for the first half of your marriage, the entire dating phase, first date, everything. Then way down the line, when you get tired of putting on a facade, then you start going natural. Sense. Usman said the news makes more money from bad drama based stories compared to feeling good stories. And you're right. The news capitalizes off of chaos. The devil profits off of torment. Lord ain't got to torment you. He just got to wait for you to come back for the good. But good is boring. Good is boring. That's why good men finish last, because women don't want good men. That's boring. Women don't want vanilla men. That's ick. Women don't want a man that it does the same thing every week, that stable job, stable income, stable housing. She don't want that. She wants the wild guy, the adventurous guy. She wants the unpredictable guy. She wants the spontaneousness. And because she wants that, she wants problems. Now, when she get tired of them problems, then she goes back and looks for the boring guy, the stable guy that she should have had from the beginning. If she would have got with that stable guy from the beginning, she would have never had no problems. She would have never had no excitement. She would have also never had no trauma. She would have had no baggage. She would have been more valuable. Women don't think about that. Now, ladies, I ain't going after y'all just by y'all. Fellas do the same thing. They chase and tail. The men are trying to get laid. They're not looking for wives. They're looking for getting laid. So they're finding easy girls. The easy girls are trauma. The easy girls are narcissistic. The easy girls are toxic. You get with a bunch of them bad girls, and then you lose all your shit. You lose your money, you lose your house, you lose your cars. You got to start over. The repetitiveness of this behavior continues to have you starting over. So instead of you becoming successful, time you 30, you'd have been playing around with a bunch of bad girls that you wasting all your money on. And then in your 30s, when you decide to stop, like the man earlier today decided to stop, that's when you realize, shit, I need to get my money together. You should have been getting your money together since you was 18. Had you been getting your money together since you was 18, by the time you 30, your money would be together. But because you was wasting your money on these females that's out there having a good time, you stay broke for 20 years. Then you realize I should get my money together. Now you're 38. When you get your money together, you're going to be 58. Now that your money is together, you're 68 and you're dating a 40-year-old. Bad decisions. Usman says the Disney Cup makes a comeback if it serves its purpose. There's nothing to it fix. There's nothing to fix. Yeah, you're right. There's nothing to fix. If it works, don't fix it. I don't get it. They be out there acting bad. Let's see what the next one got going on, because we do got a couple more of these up here.
Left.
Meeting halfway long distance. A woman I've been talking to doesn't seem to want to meet halfway. We talked about it, and she initially seemed okay with the idea. But now, she's stating she wants to feel like I'm perusing her. She's 5 hours away. I'm talking to several other people, and want to meet her to consider dating her. But I don't feel like I want to do 5 hours each way of driving and needing to stay in a hotel, etc. for the first meetup. Is she being unreasonable in her request? Contrast that to someone else I'm talking with yesterday. She suggested meeting halfway, and she was the one that brought that up.
I'm going to tell you right now, long distance relationships suck. They do. No matter who lied to you, long distance relationships suck. Some people can hang in there, and a lot of people cannot. Starting your relationship off with long distance is terrible. Hard to maintain. If you've already have a strong relationship, if you already have dedication to one another, it is a lot less difficult to deal with. But 5 hours in one direction is long as hell. And if you're talking about, I'm going to drive 5 hours to you this time, and then you're going to drive 5 hours to me next time, or we're both going to drive 2.5 hours into the middle the third time, we are sharing the responsibility. If I got to come to you all the time, you don't want me, because you ain't coming to me all the time, because I want you. I want you to be here. I'll come get you and bring you here, which is a 10-hour round trip for me. And then I got to bring you back and then come back, which is another 10-hour trip for me. So if I'm willing to spend 20 hours to get you here and get you back, you should be willing to spend 10 hours to come here and go back on your own. That's reciprocation. Usman said 5 hours. That's not long distance. That's flying distance. Hey, look, in some states in America, 5 hours is far, but it's not that far, because in Florida, we drive 5 hours from Hillsborough County to Hernando County. We drive 5 hours from Hillsborough County to Dade County, Miami, South Beach, because just to go from Tampa to Sarasota is like 2 hours, so just to get to Siesta Keys Beach, that's like a 2-hour drive, 2.5-hour drive. So if you're trying to go to South Beach, Florida, you're trying to go to the new beaches out there in the Florida Keys or something like that, you're looking at 4 hours, 4.5 hours one way. So if you met somebody out there, y'all not meeting up every day. Y'all might meet up once a month. If you driving 5 hours out there, probably gonna have to stay the night and then drive 5 hours back on the weekend. That's a fling. That's not a long distance relationship. That's a fling. That's a when I'm in town, we gonna hook up. That's not a long distance relationship. But if I'm a drive 5 hours to you one time, and you're going to drive 5 hours to me one time. I might go down there and spend a couple of weeks with you, and then you come down to me and spend a couple of weeks with me, and then I go down there and spend a weekend with you, and then you come down and spend a weekend with me, and back and forth. That might turn into a relationship. But if you got a female that's talking about something, she wants to be perused. You want to be, I can't even find a word that match with peruse. You want you want to be alone because you don't want me. But guess what you also got while you got that man out of town? You got a man in town. So you got me driving 5 hours, and you got somebody that you're trying to get out of here in the next 5 hours so that when I show up, ain't nobody else there. There is a lot of situations that we have to deal with as men that we have to recognize. And the dating apps don't make it easy for us because we cannot always match in our neighborhood. We might have to match with somebody in a different city. We might have to match with somebody in a different state or in a different country. And the problem that we have is that because social media is so fluid, we find ourselves dating individuals that are too far away. So now we have this false sense of confidence in this relationship that we think that we got somebody that we like, that we love, that we never get to see. And sometimes this can turn into a lifelong relationship. So I'm not saying don't do it, but what I am saying is that this is hard because out of sight, out of mind. You're connecting with a man or a woman in another country, and y'all might make it work. But if you connect with a man or a woman in your country that you can get to more often than a man or woman that you've been talking to on social media, you're going to stop talking to the one on social media. You might try to juggle them both for a little bit, but when the one that's closest to you seems more accessible than the one that you were spending the most time with, you're going to drop the one that's too far away. People that are in relationships cross country, like somebody in America dating somebody in Asia, $2,000 plane ticket. Them relationships only work because she's willing to relocate or he's willing to relocate. If neither party is willing to relocate, we're not in a relationship. You're just a person I hook up with, and I probably stay at your house instead of paying for a hotel when I come to you. I'll let you know I'm coming. You tell your boyfriend that you got work to do. He's going to go make himself scarce. I'm going to come and stay at your house for a couple of weeks, give you a bunch of money, and then leave. Because $500, that's a lot of money for her. That's a whole month's worth of work. She can Airbnb herself and the house out and make a month's pay for 2 weeks worth of effort. It is what it is. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's just how it is. So if you're really trying to make a relationship work, you want to find one that's accessible to you. And you want to find a person that's willing to reciprocate your efforts. So if you do got distance between you and the other person, you have to make sure that that person is willing to put in the communing effort that you're willing to put in. Because if they're not, then that's not going to be successful because you're going to waste all of your resources to entertain them. And they're not going to reciprocate. And you're going to feel used. You're going to feel undervalued. And then you're going to feel resentment. And that is going to lead to you guys breaking up. And you don't want that. Usman said, if Concord was still around, it would be 3 hours one way. Whoo! I'm not traveling that distance for nobody no more. I used to travel, not for no female. It was family members. I used to travel 2.5, 3 hours one way, 6 hours round trip. That was family. I'll give you 1 hour in one direction. That's it. Beyond 1 hour, you too far. So a 1 hour radius of my current location, I got you. But I would prefer that if you're an hour one way, that you bring your ass 30 minutes here. I would prefer that because, again, with equality, is that you are supposed to be valued equally to me. That means that the effort that you expect me to put into this relationship, you must put into this relationship. It should not all be on my shoulders, because again, ladies, y'all don't want to be submissive to a man. Y'all don't want to be the dependents of a man that requires you to adhere to a man's authority. So why is it that you don't want to contribute so that you can have equal authority? It makes no sense. Usman said, is 1 hour car bound or Concord bound? I'm saying 1 hour car bound. I'm saying 1 hour car bound. Because everybody in America, not everybody in America, but most people in America that's traveling 1 to 5 hours got their own car. Some of us got a little bit of money and we'll pay for an Uber or a Lyft, which is a cab company, a personal cab company that'll pick us up and take us where we got to go. But those of us that is traveling multiple hours for a relationship, we've got our own car. And I'm not driving more than an hour to nobody. I'm not taking a bus. I'm not taking a train. I'm not taking a Concorde. If it ain't a free shuttle, I ain't doing it. And that's still a lot of my time, because my time is valuable. My time is valuable. I have to check my clock and see how much money I'm supposed to be looking at today before I decide to start my show. So you know that I got to check my clock before I decide to travel 3 hours to go see what you got going on, because I'm still going to start my show no matter where the hell I'm at. I'm still going live. So that means if you're about to come and date me, you're going to end up on my live, because at some point this live going to start whether you here or not. So that's another thing that ladies are going to have to think about when they he's one of them. He's one of them. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I have no intention of putting my woman on my show. But if she show up on my show, that's because she was here when the show went live. So I'm not going to tell her don't get into my show. But if she dive into my show, she going to stick her face in this camera and y'all just going to see, well, damn, there's somebody there bringing them something to drink, somebody there bringing them something to eat during the show. Somebody there in the background rubbing his back or something during the show. Because I'm going to do the show regardless. So I have to recognize my priorities. Everybody that has a full-time job, they got to recognize their priorities. You've got to recognize that prioritizing yourself over building a future relationship is important, because if you don't have the stability of yourself, you don't have the capabilities to support the relationship. Once you've got yourself stable, then you can start putting more effort into your relationship. If your personal self is unstable and the relationship will stabilize you, now you have to put twice as much effort into the relationship, because without the relationship, your life is unstable. Life and invest in your relationship. All right, let's go ahead and tiptoe on to another one, because we do got a couple more of these. These some long ones.
I'm liking the effort and willingness on her part. Thoughts?
How often should you text a girl between getting her number and the first date? I'm not a big texter. I'm a much better in-person conversationalist. Usually when I get a girl's number, I set up plans and don't really text them at all until the date, as to not run out of things to talk about. But in the past, it seemed like girls have canceled the plans because we're not staying.
That you should try to maintain regular communication. When it comes down to initiating the date, I figure 1 to 3 communications to make sure that they got the date down packed. And once they agree to the date is set. After that, y'all should still be able to talk about stuff, because especially in modern times, the lack of communication, they'll ghost you or you'll ghost them, and then y'all move on to the next active person. So If you found somebody that you're interested and they're showing interest in you, you want to invest the effort to maintain communication with them. Just because you set up the date don't mean that it's on like a turkey bone. They're not giving you their firstborn. They're not signing over a blood pact with you. At the end of the day, they have yet to meet you, so they're not committed to you yet. So if they're interested in you, you guys can just start talking about stuff. Because think about this now. You say that you're holding on to what's interesting about you until the first date. If you've got that little things going on in your life that's interesting, you shouldn't even be dating. You should be trying to focus on making yourself more interesting. I can tell you right now, 365 days a year I'm on this show, I always got something interesting to say. I never not have something interesting to say. I might say it for so long that it gets boring after a while, but I never not have something interesting to say. So if I was in a relationship with somebody, I'd be able to talk to them about something different every day. Why? Because I look up interesting things. I pay attention to interesting stuff. Now, yes, I can find myself in a situation, if I don't pay attention to it, with repeating myself about certain things, especially if I'm in the same situation with the same person on a repetitive basis, that I can see myself restating the same information because it's the exact same scenario. It's like watching a rerun and feeling compelled to recite the words to the show. But if we're in different experiences on a regular basis, there's always something new to talk about. You guys just start meeting each other. I told you all about the card game, the dating assassin. I told you all about it. I've got links to the show. I actually got it on TikTok and Twitter. If you scroll down on Twitter, you'll see it. The dating assassin card game, links to where to buy the card game for like $20 for 150 cards, where y'all could just ask each other random questions, deep, in-depth questions, where y'all could just get to know each other and rectify your lack of interest. Instead of setting up dates where you guys are going to entertain each other, y'all can set up engagements where y'all can get to know each other. You can ratify the value that you have in this person before you commit to the person. Then you can entertain each other because you've already committed. Then you won't be bored, because if you're getting to know this person, there's a lot about you. You're an adult. So that means you've lived at least 20 years. You got a lot of stuff to talk about. You got your adult life and your child life. You got a lot of things to talk about, your successes and your failures. You got a lot of things to talk about, your fears and your strengths. So if you're not communicating with them, they're going to take it as you're not interested. Because the first 6 to 9 months, y'all are trying to get to know the fundamental core expectations of each other. You can't tell me that from I want to take you out to the date that y'all are going to stop communicating. Because apparently there ain't much there besides this entertaining date. If there is more to you guys than just me spending money on you so that you can have a good time, we should be talking on a regular basis, at least daily. Maybe a few hours out of the day, a few minutes out of the day, but y'all, we should be talking. And I discourage texting back and forth. I encourage that you hear your partner's voice. I'm going to call this your partner because if he or she is the person that you're interested in turning into a long-term relationship, then he or she should get used to your voice. He or she should get used to your face. So y'all should try investing more time and effort in modern society. With social media and social distancing, y'all should try to invest more effort in your modern society to do video calls and voice calls. No text messages with your romantic partner unless you are in a situation where you're at work, you're not supposed to be on the phone, but you're going to send them a text message and let them know that you're thinking about them. That's the only time you should be texting your partner. If you've got the ability to video call your partner, video call them. If you've got the ability to voice call your partner, voice call them. Ladies, instead of GPS tracking your man, video call him. Because if he answers the phone, you know where he's at, you know what's in the background, you know who all is there. If your man is going to be honest about what he's doing and who he's doing it with, if you video call him, he's going to answer. If you're going to be honest about what you're doing and who you're doing it with, If he video calls you, you're going to answer. If he voice calls you, you're going to switch it over to a video call so that he can see what you're doing and who you're doing it with. But you guys will get used to seeing each other. You guys will get used to communicating with each other. You guys will get used to each other's voice. Then that actually makes long distance relationships a lot stronger than when you're able to be in the same place at the same time. The stuff that y'all did when y'all was apart, that is what y'all talk about. There goes your transparency. Instead of us being bored all the time, you went and hung out with your friends. You can come back and tell me what that was like. I went and hung out with my homeboys. I can come back and tell you what that was like. You was at work. You can come back and tell me what work was like. I was at work. I could come back and tell you what work is like. But you know what that does? When you had a bad day, you can vent with me. When I had a bad day, I can vent with you. When something went down with you, you can vent with me. You can express that to me. When something went down with me, I can vent that with you. I can express that with you. We are formulating a bond. We're living the same life and separate lives at the same time. So we have our individual autonomy, but we have our uniform and unified relationship. Not too much time apart, not too much time together. You don't get bored if you're not up under each other 100% of the time, but you trust each other more because what are you talking about every day if you think? But what are you talking about every day if y'all do spend some time apart? What we did when we weren't together. So if I'm a debrief you whenever I come back, you don't got to ask me where I've been and what I did, because that's what I got to talk about. Because when we was together, you already know what we was doing. We was both at the same place at the same time. What you don't know is what I was doing while I wasn't here or while you wasn't here. So half of our conversation should be about what you did while you was gone. And the other half of the conversation should be about what I did while you was gone. If all I did was sit on a video game and win a trophy on Call of Duty or level my player up on GTA 6 or live stream on a podcast for 5 hours, whatever I did, we should be able to talk about that. And if something interesting happened, we should be able to talk about that. That's how you formulate stronger bonds. Let's go ahead and take on another one because, we got a few of these. Some of these is long.
In touch. I feel like maybe I should be texting here and there.
The girl I was into was out with another man. I know there are a lot of people going through hard stuff on here and wanted to try to spread some positivity with a bittersweet story. I, 29M, was romantically involved with a 24F. We had talked for 4 to 5 months. Long story short, a long work trip for her, 10 months, in which we wouldn't be able to see each other, initially kept things pretty chill. We both caught feelings, I to a greater extent, and went with the flow. We both had said things to the effect of, I don't know what I'm going to do. If you find someone else, blah, blah, blah. I felt her fading as her work trip got near, and let her have some space to process emotions. The texting became less and less, but intermittently she'd be anxious about if I was seeing anyone else, or what I was up to. Not less than a week after she was still communicating these things to me, I was bar hopping with my buddy and saw her in line at a bar with another dude. In the back of my mind, I was wondering if this was going on, and my instincts were proved right. We did not define ourselves as exclusive, partially my fault for not clarifying if we were going to see others before her trip, but I had made it clear that she was the only one I was pursuing. I knew being official prior to her trip was a long shot. Nevertheless, it stung me to my core. I have been in long-term relationships before, but this got to me because of all of the potential I saw and the perceived reciprocity I was getting. All that aside, I am so much less anxious and more at peace than I've ever been, and some words of advice I'd like to give everyone on this thread if you have doubts. Distance/life will not get in the way of the one wanting to be with you. This girl used the work trip as an excuse to at times justify her concealment of feelings towards the end. In my experience, this is, within reason, not a valid excuse. She knew she was going on this work trip right when we started hanging out, and that did not matter to her at that time. She made time. She wanted to put in the effort. Only when her feelings faded, I later found out, did her behavior change. The one will do anything to be with you. Especially with technology and our ability to communicate remotely on a daily basis. Actions, words. People can say whatever they want. Words are easy. When you are just starting to date someone, or even someone you've been in a relationship with for a while, saying what a person wants to hear is an easy way out. Judge someone by their actions, and if they prioritize you. This definitely started to fade near the end, and I've been guilty of the same thing in past relationships. Do not accept someone that does not show you that you are a priority in their life. The right person will prioritize you in action. Memories are great, but also what may hold you back. Yes, the initial chemistry with someone you click with is amazing. Feels like you've been waiting to meet someone like this your entire life. And if it keeps going like that, great. Do not let the good memories blind you from what is happening in your relationship right now. Emotions are ever-changing and sadly fickle at times. Putting your trust in another person who is fallible, makes mistakes, and is constantly changing is a huge undertaking. Do not accept the way you are currently being treated / the level of priority you are being given because it used to be so great and you think that person can get back to that point. Communication is key. If you can sort out what is wrong and get back to that initial level of chemistry, that is the standard and shouldn't be just a daydream. If you can't get there and are stressed / confused / left wondering about someone's care for you, maybe it's time to hang it up. In the end, me seeing this girl randomly out in a line at one of the hundreds of bars in my city literally days before her work trip was a coincidence I cannot explain. Call it the universe, God, or just luck, it was one of the saddest yet affirming and relieving experiences I have ever been a part of. I was thinking about the possibility of being with her after the trip, and due to her intentional lack of clarity on her feelings for me at the time, I see she is not the person for me. So,
Damn. So I can't even really make that any better. The fact is that he's right. You can't find fault in somebody else that you don't have in yourself. You recognize mistakes because you've made them. You've experienced them. You know this isn't going to end well because you did it and it didn't end well. You've seen it not end well because somebody did it around you and it didn't end well. So I'm glad that he was able to take accountability, that he was able to see her lack of desire to be dedicated to this relationship because he's done this before in his past. He is now on the receiving end of it and he doesn't like the way it feels, but he recognizes this behavior because he's done it before. Now that he's feeling how it feels to have that behavior done to you, he's going to improve himself, hopefully, so that he does not behave this way with the next person. But likewise, he was able to recognize that the person that he was with did not value him as much as he thought. This is a very hard thing to experience, and it hurts a lot. A lot of us put ourselves in a position where we have a woe is me moment. Me and one of the buddies that I had on my show, he was talking about, evaluate your relationship and determine if it's worth it. If you are in a relationship of any kind and you've got to do the pros and cons to determine if it's worth it, the relationship ain't worth it. The relationship is worth it when they're investing in you as much as you're investing in them. It doesn't matter how much they're investing in you. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Hit that like and that follow button if you're on Twitch and Twitter X. And y'all can always throw some comments in because I see y'all over there. But yeah, if you have to evaluate the relationship is worth your time because you're benefiting from it emotionally, you're benefiting from it spiritually, you're benefiting from it financially in some situations. There's less stress in your life. There's less frustration in your life. There's less complications in your life. You're benefiting from this relationship. If you are not benefiting from this relationship, it is not valuable to you. Therefore, it's not worth your time. It is not worth salvaging something that you're the only person putting effort into. How many people are willing to go to work and not collect a paycheck? The symbiotic relationship between you and your job is that you show up and you put in effort so that you can get paid. If you keep showing up and working off the clock, you're not getting paid. You're putting in effort and you're not getting compensated for it. You're not going to continue working for them. Same way in a relationship, you cannot continue to show up and put in effort into a relationship with somebody that is not going to put effort into you. They're not going to reciprocate into that relationship. If you're not getting something out of this relationship, you're not benefiting from this relationship. Doesn't matter what your gender is, but you will see the difference in behavior of a person that's all in for you versus somebody that's halfway in there for you. You'll see the difference in your relationship, the difference between somebody that's willing to make sacrifices for you, as opposed to somebody that continues to make it seem like it's impossible to make this happen. Naysayers are individuals. They'll find a problem with that solution. People who don't want you to succeed, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in business, whether it's in life, friends, family, loved ones, if every time you find a solution, they find a problem to your solution, they don't want you to succeed. But every time you find a problem, they find 5 solutions, they want you to succeed. So if you're with somebody that wants you to succeed in your relationship, they will find more solutions than they find problems. If you're with somebody that wants you to succeed in business, they will find more opportunities and find more solutions to get you to those opportunities than they will find financial problems. If you have people in your network, your friends and your family that want to see you be successful, they will find more ways to make you successful than they will tell you that you will not succeed. I got one of the students of mine that I talked to is from Taiwan. He's been trying to get his NIW. I've been telling them, let's get your stuff together. You got 6 years. You already put in 1.5. That gives you 4.5 years left to get it done. Let's create you a business model. Let's get you some loans together. Let's get you set up where you can get your situation together, where you can launch your business, and then you will be successful. You can use your success to get your citizenship. He asked me to show him other people who have done that and made themselves successful. So I showed the recent people. Bro, if I can show you one person who succeeded doing this, that means that there's a chance that you could be successful. If there's a 1% chance that you could be successful, there's a chance that you could be successful. If 60% of people succeed doing what I'm telling you to do, then you have a 60% chance of success. If I show you one person that succeeded this year, that means that you could succeed under the current regime. I showed them one person this year. I showed them 10 over the past 3 years. No degrees, no references, no contacts. They started up businesses, made themselves successful, brought their business to America, got citizenship. He says, oh, it's too hard to do. No, it's not. You just don't want to do it. I said, why don't you just spend an hour a week? He says an hour a week is a lot. Not if you're doing 10 minutes a day, because 10 minutes a day is an hour and 10 minutes. Is 7 days out of the week, right? 70 minutes. But if you gave yourself 10 minutes, you might find a flow and you might stick with it. If you invest something into something, the gratification of succeeding might motivate you to keep succeeding at that, which will increase the time that you put into it, which will increase the effort that you put into it, which will increase the investment that you put into it, which will increase the results that you get out of it, which will encourage you to put more into it. If you do the same thing for your relationships will be successful as well. Now, out of all the naysaying that he did, I am being paid by him to motivate him to be successful. I don't understand how you make that work. At the end of the day, he can't say that I didn't tell him that he could have been something. So if 4 more years pass by and he still don't got a citizenship, what am I supposed to say about that? I tried. If I want dual citizenship, I could fly to his country and go get it. But if he wants citizenship in my country, he got to apply himself to that. You can't just ride the wave and hope that you get it. Nothing in this world is free. You got to do something to get something back. Nothing is given to you outside of the initial opportunity to apply yourself. That's the only thing that's ever given to you. But that typically comes from you earning the opportunity. You got to be here for me to give it to you. American Idol, you got to show up and stand in a long line in order to audition just so that they could put you up on the show. If you don't show up, you're not getting up on the show. You could be the best singer on this side of the country, but if you never show up to the audition, you're never going to get on the show. Actors are able to act in movies because a bunch of musicians, they could be the best actors, but if they never show up to an audition, how many movies are they in? Musicians, artists, rappers, they keep making music, keep producing stuff, keep putting it out there, and they become famous because something that they make, the population likes. But they got a lot of, every famous rapper, every famous musician has at least 1 to 5 albums that did not do as well as they would have hoped. But they never gave up. That's why they're successful. Usman says actions speak louder than words, and it's easy for a person to say, I will help you, whilst actually doing nothing. And that's one of the reasons why with that woman that got mad at the man when she offered to buy the $3 coffee, but then when he said, you get the next one, she was grotesque by that because she wasn't interested in actually paying for it. She was just saying that to see what he would do. Truth is, if she was going to pay for it, she would have stopped him from paying for it and she would have just paid for it. He would have paid for it and then she would have paid for the second round. But she was changed by the fact that he was willing to allow her to pay for it because she had no intention of spending money with him, which means she had no intention of investing in him, which means that if he would have mindset, she might contribute, she would have stayed involved in all of the engagements that she had with him, specifically because she would be engaging with him for free. That old saying, it's free. If it's for me, it's free. I'll do it. You know, that's become a marketing strategy because people are so cheap. People are so selfish. If I can get something free out of it, I'll go there and pay more on the back end than I would have paid if I would have just paid up front for the other thing. Just because there's free words in there. First month free on the lease. Free popcorn on the movie. Buy one, get one free. When it's twice as much as the other product. Buy 4, get 1 free. Buy the set, get half a set free. That free word gives you this nostalgia that you're getting something that you didn't have to invest in. Usman said, I'm jumping in and out of the stream. Internet is lagging today. Bro, the internet is crazy. You're lagging. I'm lagging. I dropped my feed from 1080p down to 720 and it's still lagging. I don't know what the hell. And I got 5 bars and I'm still lagging. So I think the internet all over the place is having some, you never know. Maybe Canada turned off the internet. Canada ain't got no internet in America, but I'm just saying. It's lag, bro. It's a lot of lag. I'm looking at the backup and I'm like, man, it's still there. It's still there. I don't know why it ain't showing. I can see myself. I see the drop frames. So I know that it's been an issue. I know it's been an issue. I see the guys that's watching me over there on Twitter. I see that, well, there's a handful of y'all over there on Twitter. There's a lot of y'all watching me over there on Twitter. It's a global conspiracy. They don't want Xander's information to get out there. You know, one of the things about suppressing the right to this freedom of speech, they don't direct you from what you have to say. They just make it hard for your words to get out there. So this stuff like what TikTok would do, which is one of the reasons why I don't stream live on TikTok, is when you start talking about sensitive topics, they will limit your page. You'll get a red flag across your platform. You'll see it. Nobody else will see it. And it'll tell you that your topic is sensitive. And then your viewership will go down during the live. Then when you get off the live, you will have less people watching this one than what they watched about another one where you wasn't talking about nothing important. I don't like that. I should be able to talk about what's important. Anybody who's interested in what's important should be able to come here and find out what's important. Anybody who's watching the show right now should be able to like and subscribe and share, follow on Twitter, follow on Twitch. And every time I go live 7 nights a week at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, which is 4 a.m. Green Minute Time and 4 a.m. Universal Standard Time, should be able to come back every day of the week and learn something new about business, finance, relationships, money, social interactions, first person accountability, all of the stuff that we're talking about today, all of the stuff that we talked about last week, all of the things we're about to talk about over the next 3 days. Learn ways to make yourself more successful instead of always being on social media, either looking at chaos or looking at people making an ass out of themselves. But unfortunately, because I don't got an attractive outfit on, because I'm not female showing off all of my assets, I'm not going to have 1 million views. Not yet, at least. Because I am only going to talk about what you guys can benefit from conspiracies. But there are entities out there that don't want too much of the right information to get out to all of the people, because then all of the people will stop being dependent upon stupidity. Because again, capitalism takes advantage of the ignorant, the poor, and the elderly. That's it. You can't do no better. You don't want to do no better, or you're too stupid to do better. That's where capitalism comes from. They don't want you to be smart because they can't capitalize off of you if you're smart. They don't want you to be able-bodied and independent because they can't capitalize on you if you could do it for yourself. Why should you do it for yourself and save money when you can pay them to do exactly what you could do for yourself and lose money and still get it less successful than what you would have done it by yourself? Wouldn't you, if you put more effort into learning how to do the stuff that you need to be successful, you would not only save money, but you would get it done the way you want it done. The old saying, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Well, why the hell are you paying top dollar for somebody else to do it and you're not satisfied with their results when you could have just took the money that you spent giving it to them and you could have just learned how to do it yourself and then apply it yourself? You know, I'm going to get on this real quick. Every country has the ability for you to represent yourself in any type of legal scenario. The only reason why you are encouraged to get a lawyer is because they get paid to do the work for you, but they don't always do a good job. They just take your money and you take whatever you can get off of their effort because you don't have to apply effort to it now. Your exchange 40% of your settlement because you don't have to follow up with your case. If you do more for yourself, you don't have to pay so much to somebody else to do it for you, which gives you more money to invest. If you are in the lower income half of the country, below the 50% mark, whether you're 80,000 or less, you should be spending more of your time and your money learning how to get everything done yourself. That way you can invest in yourself. Then when you get into a relationship, you want to get into a relationship with somebody who is more capable. Street smarts, book smarts, combined together, geniuses. Y'all can get out there and take over the world. But if you're not willing to apply yourself, you will fail. If your partner is not willing to apply his or herself, they will fail. If you sticking with somebody that's not willing to apply themselves, y'all will fail as a couple. But if one person striving for success carries the weight of the other person that's riding the coattails, you'll still make it successfully. It'll be a stressful way to go. But what will happen is that just like tug of war, you will be dragging this person to a higher level. Soon as you let that rope go, you're going to speed off to success because at some point they will no longer weigh you down. And that's one of the reasons why a year, 5 months, 6 days is the average relationship, because you get tired of it. like footprints in the sand. The Lord carried you for a certain period of time, and then after that, he let you carry yourself. When you look back, all you see is one set of footprints. Why? Because he only carried you until you were capable of carrying yourself. If you would have stopped moving when he stopped carrying you, your ass would have died in the desert, because if you don't keep going, you will never reach your destination. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how tired you are, no matter how stressed out you're supposed to feel, you need to keep going, trying, improving, and make sure that you motivate yourself to succeed. And then find people around you that'll also motivate you as well. You need more. Don't fall. I'm not throwing in the towel. You're going to win this fight. You're going to go all 15 rounds. You're going to be the champion. That's what you need. And then when you finish that fight, you also need people in your corner to nurse you back to health. That way you can get back out there and fight again. Because once you become successful, just like becoming a champion, you got to defend your success. By what? Maintaining that success. They got people that got two different things. And I talk about this on the show a lot of the times. You got a fear of success that's coupled by a fear of failure. You don't want to fail because it's embarrassing, but it's easier for you to fail than it is for you to succeed first and then fail after that, because people will look down on you because you reached the top and then you went back to the basement. If you never come out of the basement, you're good with that part. But people feel like if I stay down, no one will look down on me because I've never had the opportunity to come up. But you know, the underdog is not the person that stays down. The underdog is the person that succeeds, even though there are no people there providing them with the ability to succeed. The underdog is the person that's held back and he still succeeds. The underdog is the person that keeps fighting, even though the ref is not on his side, even though the umpire is not on his side, even though the judges are not on his side. He is still going to win, even if his team doesn't back him up. Just like longest yard, even though his team didn't back him up, he still made a touchdown by himself. He took them tackles, he took them hits, but he still made it. The individual that is the underdog because he is not going to quit on himself. He's not going to quit on his team. He's not going to quit on his network. Even if his network quits, even if his team quits, even if his employees quit, he's going to keep working. And the admiration for you not giving up on you, the admiration for you not giving up on us, because eventually they're going to feel guilty for letting you down. You're never going to tell them about how they let you down. You're never going to tell them how they're failing you. You're just going to try harder because they're failing you. And as a result, they're going to see how hard you're trying because they are failing you. And that is when they're going to get in there and start doing more. That is when you're going to start seeing more results. That's when they will start succeeding with you and y'all will start succeeding together. And that's when y'all start reaping the rewards of the efforts that y'all are putting in. That is when relationships start getting better after you overcome the tough time. The tough time was when one of you was carrying the both of you. The tough time was when neither one of y'all was applying yourselves to the success of the relationship. That was the tough time. The for better and the for worse part. The for better part, everything is good. The worst part was nobody was applying themselves. The worst part was I was in this relationship by myself. The worst part was I was the only person committed to the marriage. Now we're 10, 20, 50 years into the marriage because I didn't give up on us, even when you gave up on us. That is why we're successful, because you didn't give up on us, even if I had for some reason gave up on us for a period. We stayed together because one of us was still dedicated to the two of us. That's where them long distance relationships come from. That's where the lifelong relationships come from. Because if both of y'all give up, it's over. If y'all both give up at the same time, it's over. Now I got one more, I think. We're going to go ahead and run this one. Let's see what's going on with this one. Because I told y'all we got some long ones. This should be the last long one we got.
Selfishly, this is mostly a rant to get the story off my mind and be done with it, but I hope this helps someone out there. Being someone guilty of some of these things on the other side of a relationship too, which I believe I have learned my lesson. I hope I can highlight that settling is never an option, and the longer you allow things to go on without feeling fulfilled, the more time you are both wasting.
What is this thing called that my fiancé, who's 38, does that feels really invalidating? I'm 42 and my fiancé and I have been together 5 years, and this has always happened. Usually I let it go, but we're a year out from getting married and it's starting to make me think that it's actually something I should bring up to her. So when we're in a disagreement, or even just expressing my opinion, I'll tell her my side of things and in the moment she'll say she understands. But if the issue comes up again later, she has completely rewritten how and why I feel the way I do. For example, I don't like my BIL. He's kind of a dick. I make an effort to get along with him because I love my sister. But I don't make an effort to hang out with the dude. When my fiancé asked me why I don't like him, I told her that I don't like that he uses, "I'm brutally honest," as a way to play off that he's just an asshole. A couple weeks later my wife and her girlfriend are hanging out in our living room and I overhear her tell her friend that I don't like BIL because I'm a protective older brother. This isn't true. I love my sister, but we're not that close and I've never had an issue with any other her previous boyfriends. I brought it up later with my fiancé and she told me that she knew I thought I don't like BIL because of his personality, but she really thinks it's because I'm overprotective. I tried to convince her that I wasn't, but it was obvious she was just placating me when she agreed with my perspective. I know this discrepancy isn't a huge deal, but it just feels off to have someone who's supposed to know you in and out and have your back be so dismissive of what I actually think and feel. This is just one example of many where she has taken what I say I believe / think / feel and put her own opinions or spin on it that isn't accurate to how I actually believe, think, and feel, and can't be convinced otherwise.
What's going on, Rooter?
This happens enough that I'm hesitant to share my thoughts or opinions with her because of how she might skew them later. Is this just her having her own opinion and I need to suck it up? Is this something I should just deal with? What is this called?
It's not something that I would say, oh, it's not worth staying in a relationship for. It is something we're talking about. You have to let her know that what you think and how you feel is important. You don't like Bill. She shouldn't like Bill either. If Bill's a dick, Bill's a dick. You should be able to tell Bill that Bill's a dick, and Bill's talking about I'm brutally honest. Bro, I'm brutally honest 365 days a year, but nobody comes up and tells me that I shouldn't tell everybody else that they're not doing right for themselves because I'm telling them that they shouldn't do right for themselves. I'm not telling you that you're a fuck up because you're fucking up. I am just telling you that what you're doing is not benefiting your objectives. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. But when you realize that you're failing because of decisions that you're making, you're going to stop making those bad decisions, which is going to cause you to stop failing. Then you're going to come back and tell me that I was right because you're no longer failing, because you're recognizing that you were self-sabotaging and starting to succeed. All I had to do was point out the self-sabotage. And once I pointed out the self-sabotage, you can fix it. I'm not going to tell you that you're a damn fool for the decisions that you make. But if you're doing something that's foolish, you know that you're doing something that's foolish because there's negative consequences for the decision that you're about to make, and you're going to make it anyway. You know the consequences of the decision that you're about to make, but you're about to do it anyway. So you're about to marry a girl that doesn't respect who you are. You are marrying a girl that does not respect your opinion. You're about to marry a girl that does not respect your judgment, but she chose you for your decision-making skills. She chose you for your judgment. She chose you to represent her. If she's not agreeing with you, what the fuck was she deciding on? Just your wealth? Because if that's what she decided on, how valuable are you in this relationship? You need to address this before you get married. This ain't even something like, oh, go talk to a marriage coach or something like that. Let the marriage coach talk to you about it. No, you need to put your foot down in the situation and make sure that before you marry her, that you are respected as the person that she chose to make decisions in this marriage. Because if you are going to be making decisions that she does not agree with, you guys will be fighting. You guys will be arguing over money. You guys will be arguing over decisions that are vacations, not vacations, trips, work, family, kids, upbringing, religious background. It's going to be cool, going to be all the stuff that matters in life. Y'all are going to be fighting over that if she does not respect what you have to say, if she does not back you up. So at the end of the day, you got to find out what page she's on and make sure that that's the same page you're on, because if y'all aren't on the same page and y'all can't fix that, and it's going to take both of y'all to fix that, not just her, not just you, both of y'all. So if y'all can't come and find an equal medium between the two of y'all, where she's showing you the respect that you feel you need, that is when you recognize that you need to back out of this marriage. But you gotta try to figure it out with her before that. If you can't work it out, then you back out of the marriage. But don't marry that girl before you fix that shit. I don't care how long y'all was married, because y'all will get divorced because you're not satisfied with it now. It's an irk right now. We call them pet peeves. But what happens is that it starts getting on your dang nerves and start pissing you off. And that is when it starts causing conflict in a relationship, unnecessary fights, petty squabbles, petty arguments, might even turn into abuse. You don't want to have that. And since you don't want to have that, you want to make sure that you guys are on the same page, that y'all understand, respect, appreciate, value each other. Because y'all can love each other and still treat each other like shit. But you've got to value each other and value each other's opinions. And if you do, then y'all will be just fine. But just work that out with her. Now, since I ran through 3.5 hours of content, I want y'all to understand that that is all I got for y'all for tonight. We went through the long haul. We got a lot of stuff for y'all for tomorrow. We got everything that's happening in the White House with the tariffs and how that's going to affect us financially. We got talking about precious metals on Tuesday. We got ways to invest in New Zealand, good places to live in New Zealand, real estate and other such opportunities that they have in New Zealand, investment opportunities in New Zealand. So we're going to be looking at all of that stuff on Wednesday. So make sure that you guys like, subscribe, and follow the show, because we don't just talk about relationship topics. We don't just talk about first person accountability, self-improvement, relationship improvement, social improvement, network improvement, family improvement. We also talk about financial improvement. So make sure that you stick with us Tuesday and Wednesday so that we can talk about ways to make you money, make money for you. That, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. Special shout out to Ruderus, Chess Kingdom. Special shout out to Usman, Nico. Special shout out to Carl. Special shout out to Red Void, Omni81, Danny Stefan. Special shout out to Joseph. I ain't seen him in a while. Special shout out to Rev Shep 76. Special shout out to you. Big shout out to you, Rev. Again, special shout out to Vicky, because she had one of the most inspirational things to say. I've got to run across the bottom of the screen right now. Special shout out to you ladies, the valuable ladies in the world, that whenever we come across one, Victoria B, valuable woman, whenever we come across one, we got to make sure that we recognize them for who they are, because there's not a lot of them out there, but all of them are definitely worth us looking for them through the rough that we have with the bad girls that we don't want to have in our lives. So while not all the women are bad, we do have to weed out the bad from the good. And the hardest part about this is we have to recognize that women that are not girlfriend material and women that are not wife material will always be in the dating game, because they're not girlfriend material and they're not wife material. So they're never going to end up forever taken. But women that are valuable, once you find them, they will become taken. And once they become taken, they will never go back onto the market again. So make sure you do the best that you can, hold on to them and keep them. With that being said, that is all I got for you guys tonight. Make sure that y'all come back tomorrow at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock California time. 75% of the show is men. I really appreciate the fellas for coming to the show. I really appreciate the ladies coming to learn from a man's perspective. This is one of the most knowledgeable podcasts you'll find. We are live 7 nights a week, 365 days a year, with a different topic every day of the week. So you got to come back, like, subscribe, hit that notification button, share it with somebody you know that'll like it, share it with somebody you know that got something negative to say about it, because I take all challengers. I come fully knowledgeable, do research every day before the show, so you will get what you're looking for here and some. Thank you for coming to This and That. My name is Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between, and I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night.
That's my personal command. I'm not mountain on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.